That's Patrick. All right, let's get this party started. YouTube. Get that chat ready too. Oh, baby, we are in for a treat once again. I'm so excited to be in for a treat once again. YouTube's always a little bit slower to pick up, but here we go. All right, hello everybody and welcome to another exciting final table review from the 2020 World Series of Poker, brought to you by GG Poker and your boy E from Gripsed Poker Training. Today we are reviewing the $1,000 buy-in 6 max event, and if you're a poker fan, you know that 6 max events tend to be the one where the cream rises to the top. So today we have some cream. Speaking of that cream, we have Franco Ivan Luca, who has over 6.5 million in tournament winnings. That's just live winnings alone, not to mention online winnings. And we also have Marku Koplima, who despite having an average buy-in of about $500, has tournament winnings of over 1.2 million. Today's final table is going to be a nice, long, lengthy one with lots of exciting and juicy spots. We've looked up our opponents. We have a lot of mystery players at this final table. Patrick Kennedy, absolute mystery from Ireland, playing from the UK. Anant Purohit, also a mystery. Not a lot of info to be found from him, but we do know that the Indians have been playing very well during this World Series of Poker, and we expect that to continue in this video right here. Andre in third place, couldn't find anything about him, but we do know from yesterday that the Ukrainians play extremely well as well, so he'll be a good one to watch. First hand of the final table, we see Jorge coming in with King Jack. And just before we get into that, we want to give a shout out to Big Unit 7 coming in with the 10 months. Tilly's in the chat for the homie. Thank you so much for the support. This party is going to be hype. Jorge Abra, our short stack, coming in with the open with the 2 blockers. A little bit loose for a final table, in my opinion. Ace King good enough to get it in. We see the 3-bet from Anant and the 4-bet from Jim, who also is a mystery man. These 2 players are mysteries. But Ivan Luca is an absolute legend. And Marku also has some pretty good results. So these will be the 2 to watch for sure. Andre's probably one to watch. And then we'll see what happens with the wildcard big stacks. Coming into this final table, we are looking at a pretty deep stack situation. The chip leaders, multiple of them, have about 60 blinds. We have 59 for Anant, 58 for Patrick, and 57 for Andre. So we will see lots of play at this final table. And even the short stacks, other than Jorge, each have 16 blinds, with a lot of the middle of the pack having 30 to 50 blinds. So some very big stacks in play here, which means we're going to see a lot of play, a lot of nice maneuverability, and it should be a really exciting final table. We'll talk about the payouts in just a minute, but first, Andre has opened it up with King Queen, decides not to c-bet on this board, which favors the in-position player typically. Now, the reason being, if it was mid-position versus a big blind defend, we'd almost certainly see a c-bet because the big blind would be defending a very wide range of hands, many of which do not contain an ace. When your opponent defends from the small blind, however, you can expect them to have a much narrower range of hands, a much stronger range of hands, and a lot more ace-x hands in the mix. That's the reason Andre checks back here. He's happy to show this one down, not looking to bluff out his opponent. Good discipline there, not wasting a single chip on that spot. Welcome in Edward from YouTube, and everybody from YouTube and everyone from Twitch. Let's talk about the payouts, because they are pretty big. Everyone who has made this final table, Jesus, it's guaranteed $22,000. Why? Because this tournament started with 2,202 players, and we're down to the final 9 here. 9th place is getting $22,000. 8th place, $30,946. 7th place will be taking home $43,040. 6th place will be taking home $59,681. 5th place, $83,254. 4th place, $115,000. $1,791. Man, third place, $161,042. And second, $223,978. And first place in this tournament is a lot, $299,511 plus the coveted World Series of Poker Golden Bracelet. We are in for a treat today, my friends. Let's sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Endrit coming in with the open with Jack 8 suited. I imagine this one's going to get through. If not, we're suited. This would be a fine defend. Maybe if the 7 was a little bit higher, an 8 or a 9, we may see it. I think we'll probably see a fold. They are fairly deep stacked. Being out of position, 50 blinds deep, not really the best kind of scenario to get involved with a junky hand like Jack 7 offsuit. So we do see him make the fold. Shout out to everyone coming in on YouTube with those thumbs up quick and out of the gate. Let us rise to the top. Welcome in the Grok, says Grips Live, always a payout in itself. And welcome in William B. Wheaton. Good afternoon to you, my friend, and happy Thanksgiving to everyone tuning in today. All right, we see Jim picking up ace queen suited. This one's going to be an easy raise for him. We may see a defend from the big blind here. Jack 10, kind of just playable enough. Pretty deep. It's connected, you know, it can make some straights, so solid defend there from Andre. Oh, I don't even need this. I don't even need this. But it looks more pro. I'm going to keep it. All right, I think we'll see a check call here. Andre has flopped second pair. This is a very small c-bet. He's not necessarily going to call 2 streets of betting because once Jim fires a second barrel here, his range is getting very narrow and very strong. But for the first bet, Jim can be betting open-enders, high cards, pairs, flush draws, air, all kinds of things. And if Andre gets to see the river for, you know, free, like if the turn's free, he's actually basically getting the right price to defend with his Jack 10. So now facing the second barrel, I think we'll see a fold here from Andre. No reason for him to think that mid pair is going to be good facing multiple streets of betting. And yeah, he's going to make the correct fold there and release that one. We see Sungmook Jung thinking about opening ace 9 offsuit, kind of a weak hand for under the gun. And yes, it does seem surprising that they switched to 9-handed for this final table. Typically, we saw in the 6-handed events, wonder if Jorge's going to make a move here with 8-9 suited. It would get through, but it is 1, 2, 3, 4. It's quite a few players to get through with just a 9 high. We did see in most events, the final tables came in at 7-handed for the 6-handed events. But I think because they wanted to give more players the opportunity to make a final table, because, you know, it's prestigious to make a final table at WSOP, have more of a story to share, better bragging rights, all that. I think that's why GG decided to make the final table for this 6-max event a 9-handed final table. All right, Ivan Luca with ace queen here. I'm interested to see if he goes for a min raise off 15 bigs, or if that's the stack size where he says, you know what, let's just play for all of it. I do believe if he had 12 blinds, it would certainly be a shove. But I'm very curious with 15 big blinds, what he's going to opt to do here. He is just going to take the shove, take his equity, 100%. And it is going to get through. Monkey May asked, do I make coaching content for pokercoaching.com, just poker coaching? So I make some content at gripst.com, my personal site. And then in terms of like high frequency, high volume webinars, hand reviews, high premium content, yes, I make those. I make that stuff at pokercoaching.com. That's the site that I'm partnered with. And I love being a part of that site. I think Jonathan Little's doing incredible things. Speaking of incredible things, ace queen suited for Jorge. Now, Patrick Kennedy can afford this call. It's 10 bigs. Jorge's probably not doing this with like deuces, but he's probably doing this with like 5s, 6s, 7s. So it's enough hands that Patrick is dominating that he can run it with 8s here, even though he's going to be flipping a ton and he's going to be far behind the big pairs. He's beating enough hands, and it's only for a 1/6 of his chips. So I think we may see a call here. If Patrick had, say, 4.5 million, I don't think he would run it here with 8s, but because it's for a smaller percentage of his stack, he can take this small edge here. and look to turn a profit. So it's going to be a classic coin flip. Pocket eights against ace queen suited. And a set of eights on the flop is looking pretty good for Patrick. He just needs to fade a jack on the river. And we're going to have our first elimination from this final table. Wow, it is the jack on the river, and your super sweat race is going to go to Jorge Abreu. The final table continues. Everyone's still in the mix. YDNA, do you do coach for PLO as well? No, I do not. I'm not a PLO player, but in terms of suggestions, Jay Nandez, PLO Mastermind, highly recommended. I've been through about 12 hours of content on that site. It's incredible. He's a boss. It's the best. If you want to learn PLO, get the PLO Mastermind. You will not regret it. All right, Patrick Kennedy, ace king suited. I was excited that he had ace king suited, and then I realized no one's going to call. So this will just be a short and sweet final table. Grok asks, how long it took to get to the final table? It was probably about, these tournaments weren't too long. I think it was about 10 and a half hours to get to this point. So the total tournament time for this one was about 13 or 14 hours when it's all said and done. Gigi did a really good job of keeping the length of the tournaments not too long, so that people could actually get like a good grind in while still maintaining their day-to-day lives and working their regular jobs. Seung Mook Young is running into trouble here. Now the question is with aces, guys. Does anyone like a slow play here? Because at sub 30 blinds, slow playing aces is very attractive, especially in position, giving your opponent a chance to make a pair that they can't get away from, flopping draws, things like this. Is really attractive because aces are such a monster hand. They're an 80% favorite pre-flop. They're usually going to be a 70 to 80% favorite on the flop. So there's not a lot of worry of letting your opponent see a flop, especially with a hand that might get him into trouble. The only issue with it is that when we flat call with aces here, we invite the big blind to come along as well, usually. That being said, big blind only has 20 bigs. Not too many, so it's reasonable to flat here. I think we'll probably see a 3-bet and a 3-bet on a small sizing to start building the pot, but something to think about. At 30 blinds, slow playing aces is fantastic, and the shallower you get, the more valuable slow playing aces can be, because if someone opens off of 15 bigs and they flop a top pair with whatever hand, they're never getting away from it. So with aces, you want to let them hit that top pair. Whereas when they have like 50 big blinds or 60 big blinds, they're a little less likely to stack off with that top pair. And that's why we want to build the pot pre-flop with aces as stacks are deeper. But with those shallow stacks, and 30 is kind of the line where it starts to become attractive, slow playing aces is a fantastic tactic, especially in position. Because we saw Seung Mook obviously folding to the 3-bet there, but if Endred had flatted and Seung Mook either flopped a jack or a 10, he's losing a bunch of chips. If he flops open-ended, he's losing a bunch of chips. Even if he just hits a dry board, he's going to fire some bluffs out there. So there were a lot of extra chips Endred could have picked up by slow playing. All right, Seung Mook, pocket nines here, is going to play on. The question is how. He's facing an early position. Open flatting makes sense. And yes, Monkey may, that was a somewhat wide open for ICM. He was opening into the shorter stacks though, and you'll typically see players opening into the shorter stacks with a wider range because they're going to fold more often. Now, Mark, who picks up ace king in the big blind, it's interesting. A fine squeeze spot, but the action is coming from early position, and Andre has him covered. I think we'll probably still see a squeeze here, but to what size? All of it. That keeps it easy. Pressure back on Seung Mook Young, or Jung, probably Young. What do you do with pocket nines here? Marku never has eights, never has sevens. So does that make it a fold with nines? I mean, if he turned his cards face up and said, I have ace king, do you call with nines? You're getting the right price from a chip EV perspective. But when you factor in ICM and the value of moving up the payout structure, maybe you're not getting the right price. Curious to see what chat has to think about that. Would you guys have run it there with the nines? If you knew his hand, would you run it there with the nines? So on. Jim, ace 3 offsuit here. Personally, I like a fold. He's off of 20 big blinds. Both players in the blinds have big stacks that could 3-bet him and put some pressure on him. Offsuit ace, pretty weak hand all around. Like to see Jim find the folds here. It is the best hand. He's going to take the spot, and he'll probably get it through. Finding the raise there. I just think it's a little bit unnecessary variance. He's only got a 23 big blind stack. It's a very delicate stack. And opening up yourself to some volatility there is definitely, I mean, it just affects your chances of winning. Victora says he would go all in with the 9-9 like a boss. Now Xiangmook picking up a real hand, pocket jacks. Jam looking like he's a bit of a gambler. Thinking with King 7 suited as well, facing an open. Yeah, I'm with Monkey May. There were with 3 shorter stacks at the final table, and the ability to increase the payout from 22,000 to 59,000, very likely by just avoiding confrontation. I probably would have folded the 9s, even if I knew Marku had ace king. Now, this is a spot we definitely would not be folding. 4 of a kind jacks on the flop for Xiangmook. Question is, will he bet and just hope his opponent has pocket 9s or queen 10 suited? He does. Fair play. And now we see some big hands. We're going to be seeing some chips going in the middle here. It's pocket queens for Endrit, who is in 2nd place, and pocket kings for Marku, who is in 4th place. Now, both these players have over 47.5 blinds. This is a case where kings is definitely going to want to build the pot. It's not that shallower stack where the slow playing becomes more attractive. This is a stack depth where the players are going to want to, Marku's going to want to build the pot here. Interesting. He goes for the slow play. And he's probably going to miss out on some value because of it. Because by 3-betting, he can get more value from queens, jacks, 10s, post flop. But I guess he's looking to disguise his range, respect the early position open. And with that ace high flop, we see the action a little bit slower. Going to be hard for Marku to extract. He can probably get 1 street of value, but on that particular river, I don't think he is going to be getting any value whatsoever. Neither is Endrit, though, as it goes check, check. Maybe there was a little bit of ICM implications there. A little bit of ICM factor, why Marku decided to just flat instead of 3-betting, why he decided to not build the pot in that spot. Either way, Endrit wins a small one there. And we're on to the next hand. Andre wondering if he can go ultra wide, deuce 9 offs. I mean, if you're opening deuce 9 offsuit, you're basically opening the entire deck. I think that's going a little wide. Yo, what up, S the P 1973, man? Good to see you. Congrats on you hit 10K yesterday. I sure hope so, man. Sesh is going great. We're reviewing the final table from the 1K No Limit Hold'em 6 Max event. Started with 2,200 players. We are down to the final 9. Everyone guaranteed 22,000. We are seeing who is going to be taking down $299,511 today. GG has given us access to these wonderful final table feeds with all the cards up. So it's an incredible learning experience. Yeah, S the P, we have commentated 15 so far, and we have 5 left to round out the year. We're going to have commentated 20 WSOP final tables this year. It's pretty cool stuff. So Patrick opened up blind versus blind, wanted to apply his big stack pressure on Xiangmook. On the flop, flops a gutter, easy c-bet. Xiangmook with ace high, not going anywhere. Turns the pair, wants to bet for protection. And he takes that one down. Yeah, glad we could support the dream yesterday, man. I think it's really powerful for all of us Stormers to support each other, help each other hit those high watch counts. None of us can do it alone. It's definitely a team game, this Twitch streaming thing, and it's a really fun game too. Interesting, we see Seungmook folding ace-9 suited there. He's kind of just a bit of a wild card, Seungmook. And we have seen that with a lot of the Asian players at other final tables. They play a very feel in the moment game. They kind of go with their gut, things like that, and it's a really fun style to watch. Shout out to Coach K coming in with the tier 1. Welcome to Team Gripst. Hope you are ready to stack them chips. Says, man, this stream is great. Been looking for a channel like this for a while. Thank you, Coach Gripst. You are welcome, Coach K808. Thank you so much for the support. All right, Anand opening 9s. We may see a 3-bet here from Andre. This is kind of the pros' favorite hand to 3-bet bluff with ace-5 suited. They like their baby suited aces, specifically ace-5 suited. But doesn't have the best. But here's the thing, man. Like, Anand's in such a spot. Deep stacked, out of position, you're getting 3-bet, you're 50 blinds effective. You don't want to just 4-bet all in. You don't really want to 4-bet. So Anand is almost stuck calling here because 4-bet folding would be just too many chips. And so now Andre has a lot of control. He's in position. He has an uncapped range from having 3-bet. And now he gets to play the rest of the hand in position. Potentially up to 3 streets of betting. So that's the power of just 3-betting in position when you're deep stacked. You know, when you're like 20 blinds deep, 25 blinds deep, if you 3-bet light, Anand can just pile all in with pocket 9s here and say, you know what, whatever. If you got a better hand, fine. Take it. I'll take my equity. But as the stacks get deeper, you know, 35, 45, 55, 65, 75 blinds deep, Anand, the out of position player, can't really just move in with a marginal hand. And so it gives more power to 3-betting in position. And that's why in cash games, you'll see people 3-betting all the suited aces in position, maybe even sometimes some suited kings. If you're targeting a weaker player, maybe a hand like Jack 9 suited, even like 9-7 suited, King 10 suited, because it really gives you a ton of control for the rest of the hand and gives you a lot of power and the ability to make great decisions. Now, Andre didn't hit the flop that he needed there. And typically when you get a Broadway type board, it's going to be a spot where the 3-better slows down because the person who opens and calls a 3-bet is typically going to have a lot of Broadways. But that's more often than not, Andre's going to get a board that he can win with the C-bet on in that spot. So I really like the 3-bet there, and I like the discipline, not just firing off on the Broadway board that's likely to have connected with Anand's range. All right, welcome in everyone from YouTube. I see that the training fiends are coming through. We had a really fun final table review yesterday with the mini main event. Saw our homie, the Psychopath, take down $833,000. Today, we're seeing who's going to be winning $300,000 in this 1K 6 max event. Franco Ivan Luca, the most decorated player on this final table with over 6.5 million in live winnings. Marco Coplima, the other 7-figure winner up in this joint. See Jim picking up aces, opening on Jorge. Jorge's got a pretty shallow stack and a pretty weak hand. The Brazilians do not like folding, though. They like taking their pot odds. So we may see a defend. We may see a defend from Jorge Abra here. He's thinking about it. While he's doing that, I will just take the time to shout out everybody up in chat. What up, KTT? What up, 3Fixity? Donkey Kong, YDNA, S the P. Monkey May, Tweezer re-raises. How y'all doing? Strongly considering what he wants to do. Really thinking about it. They just hate Brazil. He knows the math's there. He's like, well, it's 320 to play for 1.1 million. I only need 30% equity. I'm going to have that against most hands except over pairs. Well, you know what, though? Do I really want to take volatility to my stack when there is a shorter stack in play? Maybe not. And ultimately, he thinks best of it and keeps himself out of trouble. We're on to the next hand. We'll see an open from Endrit here with pocket fours. And it looks like there will probably be a shove from Jim with ace king suited. He's off 26 bigs. I guess there's a little bit of room to go for a smaller sizing, maybe like 975, and then call off for the rest. Yeah, he's going to go for the 1.08 million. The reason for doing this sizing over just shoving is he wants to give Endrit the opportunity. Well, he wants to be able to have some 3-bet bluffs in his range. Because if he has some 3-bet bluffs, Endrit may take a hand like ace queen and move it all in, and that way Jim can get it in good more often. So we'll see. Now, this is one of the spots where he puts himself in trouble, though, because Endrit would certainly fold fours to a shove, but he could consider shoving over Jim's 3-bet if he thinks Jim's light, and then Jim has to take a 50-50, which is not what he wants to do. Welcome in Waleed Saka. Welcome in Jerry Trolley Tucker. Tweezer re-raises says, every question I have, Gripst ends up answering it. Love this. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, that's it's kind of the joy of doing these kind of things. I remember when I would do the reviews with Charlie Carroll and Ben Heath and Ali Imsirovic, it was kind of my job to ask all the questions that I knew the viewers would ask, or that on a deeper level they would want to ask but didn't even realize that was the right question. So I try to answer all the questions that you would ask, that you already have in your mind and that maybe you forgot to ask, but like, oh, that makes sense to know, so that this can be the best learning experience ever. And I kind of think of myself as like a little bit of like a poker translator for aspiring poker players who want to become better poker players, winning poker players, because I've just watched so much poker over the years and played so much poker and studied so much poker that I can look at it from a technical level, an entertainment level, and a firsthand experience level. I guess educational level. So Jorge opens queen 9 suited. Adnat has a couple of blockers here. I don't really know. You could, like, if he 3-bets, he's kind of committed here, which is what he does. Because if Jorge moves in, let's see, there'll be 2 mil already, 3.8 million, and it's going to cost him 2 mil to call. Less than 2. Yeah, Adnat's probably calling if the shove goes through. But here's the thing. When you have Broadway cards, when you have face cards, you're going to have pretty decent equity against a lot of the hands your opponent's getting in with pairs and, you know, suited aces and stuff. So when you got 2 big cards and your opponent is there sub 15 bigs, by all means, 3-bet, commit, get ready to rock and roll. We see it open from Anant on the button, king 7 suited. Patrick in the big blind has a connector, but he does not defend it. Reason being, yes, he can flop straights and straight draws with it. But in terms of the pair strength of the hand, he's always going to be flopping mid pair at best or bottom pair. And therefore, it's really hard to continue. It's hard to get to showdown with your draws. It's easier to get to showdown with your pairs. So no need in getting involved with a hand that's only going to make bottom pair. Now, Anant looking to hit a 3 here against Endrit, who flops another set of queens. Very strong hand here. Anant deep enough here to go set mining. Obviously, if he could win a big hand, chip leader versus second place, give himself a runaway chip lead, that's a wonderful thing to have at a final table where he can just raise and take and raise and take and ravage and ravage and ravage. But is not to be on this flop. And we see Endrit checking there for a couple of reasons. One, it's a board that is going to miss a fair bit of his opening range from this position, so he's going to give up on it a fair bit. And also he has the board crippled. If he had a set of 10s or a set of 8s, he's more likely to bet because his opponent can have top pair queens to give him action. But when he has top set queens, it's very unlikely that his opponent is holding the other queen, and therefore not a lot of hands that can call him and give him action. So instead he checks to give his opponent a chance to bluff at the pot. Let's see, king, queen. I'm just going to take this one down. Kabir asked when this happened in real. This is a final table from September that we have been given access to with all the whole cards revealed, courtesy of GG Poker. We've been covering the final tables for the World Series of Poker, both during the World Series in August and September, and we want to keep the dream alive, so we've covered a bit more in October and November as well. We'll be bringing you 4 more final tables after this one to close out the year. Probably going to pack them all in over the course of the next 4 days. This could be it for Ivan Luca. He's got 11 bigs. Ace-7 blind versus blind is certainly a strong enough hand to shove. And he's going to get snap called by the ace-jack suited of Endrit here. He's going to need a lot of help on this all-in situation. He used his run hot, which we did see works in other ones. But he's switching it up with the hurry up and I'm so good. He's failed to realize you have to stick. Oh, maybe not. We thought you had to stick with the running hot, but he has magically selected the right selection of emojis to find a chop in that situation. Ivan Luca catching the lucky card he needed to survive. And the battle will wear on. You guys are just joining us. This is event number 73 from the World Series of Poker, a $1,000 buy-in, no limit hold'em 6 max event. Started with 2,200 players. We are down to the final 9. Everyone here guaranteed $22,000. Everyone who makes the top 4 will be getting a 6-figure payday, and first place in this event will be receiving $299,511 plus the coveted World Series of Poker golden bracelet. Jim decides to take a flop with ace-3. We'll see a lot of top players defending ace-X versus a min-raise, just because the ace is such a powerful card. But if you are to defend a baby ace from the big blind, it's important to play very cautiously post-flop when you do flop an ace. You can't just automatically, call down 3 streets because you made a pair of aces. It's important to be able to fold when facing a second or third barrel if you believe your opponent is weighted to a strong range. Jorge checks back. This could be a spot for Jim to take it away if he wants to take a stab. If Jorge is to check again here, his range is starting to look somewhat weak. Go for the delayed c-bet. Jim has now checked twice, waving the white flag a little bit. And Jorge is going to go for a small bet. Do it if you're in Jim's shoes. You got a gut shot. You're getting 4-1 on a call. You need about 9-1 to justify the call. You're just drawing. If you think the ace is ever good, you can call a bit wider. But what are the hands that Jorge is mostly checking back on the flop? Ace high and marginal pairs. Now this play I like a lot. He's not just going to check call with the gutter. No, he's going to check raise. He says Jorge would have bet on the flop if he had a strong hand, or he would bet bigger on the turn to try to get all in by the river if he actually had it. I think it's a bluff. I'm going to make a play on it. Beautiful check raise by Jim left to ruck there. Taking that pot down, turning rags into riches. And that is going to move him up to almost 5th place. He's comfortably in 6th, and Jorge feeling a little bit of a burn there. All right, Seungmook with the open. Endrit likely going to find the 3-bet here with ace-queen. Welcome in Warrior 99999. Oh, Endrit just goes for the flat. All right, deciding he's playing in position. Reason for flatting, he wants to keep in the king-queens, the ace-jacks, the ace-10s, the queen-jack suiteds, the queen-10 suiteds that he's dominating, rather than 3-betting. If he 3-bets, he's probably going to fold out those hands as we saw earlier. But here's the thing. Why flat ace-queen and 3-bet aces? I would much rather 3-bet ace-queen and be willing to fold to a 4-bet because you're always facing ace-king or better, and slow play with the aces. I don't know, but that's me personally. I'd rather slow play with the stronger hand, trap with the stronger hand, and 3-bet with the more marginal hand. But he plays it in position. has overcards on the flop and says since he kept in all those weaker hands pre-flop just by flatting, and all those hands are betting on this flop, he's calling because he's still ahead of that range. That's why he can float with ace high in position. Now this is great because the ace is a card that Seung Mook's going to barrel off a lot on, and Endrit actually has it. So the other perk to floating with ace queen, ace king high on flops is that your implied odds are very high. Not because your opponent is going to have made a second best hand very often, but because they are going to bluff a lot when those aces come out. And we'll see if Seung is going to fire a third barrel, man. This is the problem playing out of position. You just don't have a lot of information. He is going to give up. Great decision. All right, Endrit going for value on the river. And Seung is going to fold here, but a nice pot for Endrit. The slow play worked out for him. Turning an ace was beautiful. The only thing that would have been better would have been turning a queen, but hey, no need to be too choosy here. That is a great outcome, a great result. Picks up 3.7 million, and I believe that's going to move him into the chip lead. Going to move him into the chip lead here. Whereas we still have not lost any players from the table. But Jorge's starting to get short. He's got a hand he'd love to jam with. Question is Patrick opening wide enough for Jorge to be able to get this one through? Because in terms of fold equity, he doesn't really have any. Patrick's going to be getting 2-1. I think we played an event with Patrick Kennedy. And so he's likely going to get called here. Patrick Kennedy can afford it. He's getting 2-1. He's got a suited Broadway hand that does play pretty live in all-in situations. Kind of right on the line. Against the pairs, he's doing well. Against ace-king, he's doing fine. The only hands he's worried about are ace-queen and apparently ace-10. And he is going to find the fold. Nice laydown by Patrick Kennedy, avoiding a domination situation. And the blinds are going up. So on these final tables, what GG did for the blinds is they said every 30 hands, and in the main events, every 40 hands, the blinds go up. And that way players couldn't like stall to time the blind increases. So that way they just made it a lot more fair. And I think it's a good adjustment they made. So with that, blinds are up to 100,000, 200,000. We'll break down how the stacks have been affected as a result of that in just a minute. But first we're going to see Marku limping in with ace-9. And this is a big raise. Question is he limp shoving for 32 bigs? Feels like a slightly large amount. But I have to guess he's limp calling then. I just always wondered when you limp call, you're still out of position for multiple streets, and it seems like it's such a tough spot to play. That's a spot that I would like to study the strategy more, the blind versus blind situations, because it does come up fairly often in tournaments, and it's an important situation to be able to handle. It's top pair for Anant, second pair for Marku. Certainly going to be rocking and rolling with this. And I'm not going with the small sizing here so that he can get called by a 9. He can get called by ace-4, ace-deuce, all of these hands. Interesting check raise here from Marku. Probably doing this kind of for protection. Thinking that with a queen, Anant would have either bet the flop or he'd bet bigger on the turn. So he's probably thinking that Anant's got some kind of combo draw here and wants to charge him for it. Comes in for the check raise for 1.1 more. I have to think that Anant doesn't like it, but will probably find a call on the turn getting this price. The question is, What are we going to see on the river? Hearts have missed. Straight draws have missed. You can't get value from worse. But he may think that he can induce a bluff. So Marku's checking. Anant not going to bet it here. Decides it's too thin. I'm very curious what we would have seen if Anant went for a bet there, if Marku would have made the call. But he didn't. So we don't have to sweat it. And we could talk about the blinds going up as Ivan Luca, our legend of the table, with over 6.5 million in winnings. He's going to move all in here with pocket nines. If he hadn't, Jorge would have been all in with fives. I think he's probably going to get this one through. Marku knows, you know, there's not a lot of ace 9, ace 8 suiteds going in here, so no need to call off with ace 10. Anant can afford it, but again, is Ivan shoving a lot of worse hands than ace 7 suited? I don't think so. So one's probably going to get through successfully. And while we wait on that, let's look at how the stack's been affected with the blinds going up to 100,000, 200,000. Our short stack is Ivan Luca with 9 blinds, although if he takes this one down, he will be up to 11.5 blinds. Jorge Abra, the next shortest stack, has 10.3. Then we get to the middle of the field. Seongmook Young with 17 bigs, a nice reshove stack. Same with Marku Komplima, a reshove stack. And Ivan talked himself into getting some action. I think there's only one ace left in the deck. So Ivan's in pretty good shape here, just needing to fade one of 2 sevens and 1 ace. Percentages should be much more favorable for Ivan than they appear. Talks his way into a call. That's going to get him a double up, putting him into the middle of the field with 20 bigs. Marku has a reshove stack with 20. Ivan Luca, reshove stack with 20. Jim Lefterug, 27 bigs, and Andre, 28 bigs. Lots of play with those stacks. Patrick Kennedy right there with him at 30. And our chip leaders, our big stacks. Endrit Gecki. Getchi has 60 bigs, and first place Anant Purohit, the chip leader, has 60 bigs as well. So again, nice deep stacks. Lots of post-flop play to be seen here. Really fun final table we have here in the 1K 6 max from the 2020 WSOP. Jim opens ace jack, gets flattered by the nines of Marku. Fairly likely to see a continuation bet on this fairly dry board. Marku not going to be going anywhere here. Don't know that if he can raise, because Jim can still have better hands. He can still have the jacks, queens, kings, aces. So Marku's kind of stuck in a pot control situation. Now with Jim turning a gut shot and his 2 overcards still, he could decide to apply some more pressure on Marku, put pressure on an exact hand like this, a 9s, 8s, 7s type of hand. Does need to be concerned, though, that Marku could slow play. Some 10s, jacks, queens, kings with these stack sizes. He checks, and I wonder if we'll see Marku go for like a blocker bets type play here. Nope, he's just going to check behind, try to get the showdown. And Jim is going to be winning this one. Jim is going to be winning this one with an ace on the river. Goes for a little bit of value, third pot, and I think Marku can probably find a fold. He's beating King, Queen, King Jack, and Queen Jack of spades, hearts, and clubs. He's probably not beating diamonds because diamonds probably would have kept betting on the turn when we turn that draw. So most of Jim's range is going to be a pair of aces. So a nice discipline lay down there by Marku Komplima. Shout out to Jake Anderson, says he just created an ACR account, depositing money now. It is Free Money Friday, so if you are a non-ACR player and you want to try ACR out, I will give you some free money to play on the software today. I'll put a link in chat for anyone who wants to try that out. Just let me know your account name after you make the account. We're also doing $100 in giveaways today on Twitch, so feel free to join us there after this stream is done. And we see a big pot. Here we go. Pocket queens for Marku. It's ace queen versus Endrit Happy to run it. Didn't even think about it. Gonna need... I don't even know what he's gonna need to win. Running aces, probably, would be what he needs to win this one. And that's not going to cut it. So Marku loses a few chips the previous hand, but gets them all back, plus interest on the next hand. He now has a stack. 7 million chips, 35.1 big blinds. He's feeling laxed. Once again, kings, ace, queen. Marku maybe just going to flat this one. Does need to respect the under the gun opening range here. If he, this is going to be trouble. I was going to say if he 3-bets, all he's doing is knocking out the hands he's dominating, like ace jack, ace 10, king queen. So there's no real need to do that. He's just flatting, and this is going to be trouble for him. No real need to raise, so he may save himself some chips, but this board is too strong for him to just get away from. It's going to be a call on the flop. Picks up the nut flush draw to go with it on the turn. If Endrit's betting, Marku's going to be checking. And a little bit of concern here for Endrit with the flush draw getting there. He is going to go into a defensive mode here because Marku could have ace jack, ace 10 of clubs. Ace king of clubs is unlikely but possible. Maybe jack 10 of clubs. I think king jack and stuff probably just fold to the open from under the gun. But it works out. Marku, Endrit probably going to go for value here on the river now, figuring that Marku with his flushes would be betting turn, and therefore kings up is probably good. Question is what size? I'm thinking like 1.4. He's thinking like 1.7. And Marku probably just going to call here. Although with the ace of clubs blocker, he like could heroically turn this into a bluff. So blocks queens full. So you never know, man. These high stakes guys sometimes make plays. He has the right cards for it, the right blockers, and it would put Endrit in a world of hurt facing a shove here. But he is just going to go for the standard play, making the call, and that's going to send a big chunk of chips right back to Endrit, who is basically tied for the chip lead after that one. Stay hydrated, my friends. Water is extremely important for you. Other than oxygen, probably the most important nutrient we have in the human body. Speaking of that, Queen Jack suited. There it is. Patrick Kennedy says, let's play a hand in position. Flops a gut shot and a backdoor flush draw. So if a knot bets small enough, Patrick would certainly call. But this is interesting. A knot going into a induction mode. He wants to induce a bluff from his opponent, Patrick Kennedy here. Looking to check call. We'll see if it works out for him here. Oof. Not going to be working out too well. Patrick Kennedy priced himself in and now has turned the nuts. He's going to get a lot of value from this hand here. See, now the one issue with going into check call mode here, Patrick Kennedy basically priced himself in on the flop. He bets small. If a knot calls and then checks turn, Patrick just checks back the river, gets to see the turn in the river for free. And even a gut shot that's just a 4-outer is going to get there about close to 20% of the time. So that's the one danger of going into the defensive mode and giving your opponent in position control of the betting. But I understand why he did it. Patrick Kennedy can have this ace-jack beat, so it's not like he's just guaranteed to have the best hand. Patrick getting value on the turn. Should go for one more bet on the river. Most of Anant's flush draws probably betting the flop. Pretty weighted towards one pair, so a smaller bet's probably the way to go. 1 million, 1.4 million. See what sizing he's thinking. Chat, what size are you guys thinking here? How much are you betting? 1 million, 2 million, all of it, 4 million? Big decision here for Patrick Kennedy. This WSOP final table. $1,000 six max playing for $300,000. He's actually just going to check it back for fear of the flush. He felt like that was on the tight side. But gonna get it through. Well, he's gonna win that pot, but he probably could have won a lot more. All right, tournament is on a quick break, but we're gonna go ahead and skip ahead of this. If you guys are watching on YouTube right now and you are enjoying the show, please click that thumbs up button. It lets YouTube know that you want to be notified next time I do another one of these, which will be either later today or tomorrow. It also just helps us out a lot. If you want to improve your tournament game, absolutely free, check out gripst.com/free. And you can get this training bundle, $200 in value, absolutely free. And special offer because it's Thanksgiving and Free Money Friday. Anyone who creates a new America's Card Room account with the sign-up code GRIPST and tells me their screen name in chat before the stream is done will get a free $10 in their account and all this training material. That is for new accounts only. I'll put a link in the chat for anyone who wants to take advantage of that. Anyway, let's skip ahead past the break and get back into the action. Let's get in there and let's get stacking. All right, so coming in to the final 9 players, we've had our first break of the final table. And the second part starts just like the first one with an open from Jorge Abra and a 3-bettable hand from another player. Marco here with pocket jacks. Probably going to 3-bet versus this 10 big blind stack. I think you might as well just move all in. These players have fought long and hard. We started with 2,200 players in this $1,000 buy-in 6 max event. We're down to the final 9. This is the final table. Everyone here is guaranteed $22,250. 6-figure payday of $115,791. And first place will be taking $299,511. Seungmook Young says he's in chat. Boss Real on YouTube. What's going on, man? Congratulations on the finish and the run, if it is indeed you. No spoilers, please. So we are keeping a close eye on Ivan Luca, who has over 6.5 million in tournament earnings. Marco Koplima, who has 1.2 million in winnings. And everyone else is kind of a wild card, kind of a mystery, but we've seen Jim has made some very nice plays on this final table. We'll see if Endrit, with the big stack, probably going to open with ace deuce here. He's up against 2 short stacks in the blinds, so he's going to be opening a wider range in this situation. And Jim is going to be 3-betting here. Probably taking it down. Yes, Laniesto, it was a 6-handed event, but for the final table, they made it 9-handed so that more people could, you know, take pride in the fact that they made a WSOP final table. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of hype with making a final table, a lot of prestige, a lot of story. And I know that GG Poker was looking to make a lot of dreams come true. That's part of why they hosted the World Series of Poker online. And so this was just one more way that they could make, you know, 2 or 3 more people have a dream come true of making a World Series of Poker final table. And I can say, I've only made an online final table at the World Series. I've never made a live WSOP final table. It still feels really cool to make a WSOP final table because there's so much, you know, prestige and story about that from TV over the years. So that was the reason for doing that, and I think it's a good decision. But, you know, if you guys are looking for 6 max action, we just need to wait for Jorge to get out of here with his 6 bigs. And then once it gets 8-handed, it's going to get more action. And once we get 7, it's going to be a lot of hands and a lot of spots. Speaking of spots, Anant going for the 3-bet here with 10-6 suited. Jim with a nice suited hand, ace-jack suited, plays well in position. He just has to be concerned with domination. Ace-king, ace-queen, big pairs, but he's going to take a flop in position, no doubt. Power being in position. Can easily get away from it post-flop unimproved. And with a marginal improvement, can, you know, call a bet or 2. And he's got middle pair here. Enough to call one bet, but pretty dicey if facing a second barrel because of how many king queens and ace kings Anand could have. Now, on that turn card, he's not going to have any concerns. Jim with the absolute nuts. Trip jacks, ace kicker. Tis a very strong hand. Tis a very strong hand indeed. Question is, will he go for value? No, he's just going to check. Give Anand another chance to bluff at it. And if Anand has a king, I think he's accepting he's only getting one more street of value. Anand has the 10 blocker to queen 10. About it. I don't think he's going to go for... Wow, he does! Jim induced it perfectly. Capped his range on the turn, made it look weak. Anand goes for the bluff, and a massive pot for Jim. And a massive punt from Anand. He didn't even need to 3-bet the 10-6 suited. Once 3-bet, okay. Bet flop, okay. But we did talk earlier about the danger of those Broadway boards and how they really connect with the 3-bet caller's range. And he figured, well, he's afraid of the jack. Once the jack pairs, maybe I can blow him off even a king. But that river bluff just really unnecessary. And that's going to take Anand from the penthouse to the almost outhouse. And your new chip leader, Jim Lefteruck, well played. Also, you know, nice job turning the trips. Of course, it's easier to play well when you make a hand, but great job checking the turn there and getting max value from Anand. Sometimes when you believe your opponent is very unlikely to have a strong hand, it's important to slow play your hand to give them a chance to put the chips in for you. People can't really call a big bet with nothing, but they can make a big bet with nothing. And when you think your opponent is weighted towards nothing and you have something strong, you got to just give them rope. Wonder how long this 200K big blind is going to stay here. We'll see. Xiang Mook, hopefully we see an all in here for 15 bigs. He's going with the 2.2 raise. This is probably going to get it done. All right. Be interesting to see what happens here. Marku with ace jack, king queen for Xiang Mook. And brother, it's pronounced Young or Jung? My guess was Young. Xiang Mook Young. He is going to flat call, and that's a nice flop for him. Top pair, second kicker. 3x stack to pot ratio. Marku with a gut shot here. May want to bet to fold out some weaker hands. I hope we see a check raise here from Xiang. Great spot to protect against an exact hand like this. Keep control of the action. Obviously disaster when Marku has aces or tens, but that's pretty rare relative to everything else. A beautiful turn for Xiang Mook. Marku is now drawing dead. A king will make him the second best straight. As be a full house for Xiang Mook. Mike Leonard letting us know that Endrit is a boss man. Marku. If he bets here, he can put pressure on 10x. That's about it. Not a lot of hands that he can put a lot of pressure on here. So checking back and giving up does make sense in this spot. We'll see Xiang probably go for some value here on the river. Trying to pick an amount that a hand like pocket jacks or ace 10 could call. Takes it down. Steve McKenzie says, hey, Grips, any advice for an aspiring 16-year-old poker player? I mean, the most important thing to do is study and connect yourself with a strong community. I just said, join the new website, grips.com. You can get a 1-month free pro membership when you sign up before Cyber Monday. So take advantage of that, connect with the community, and just keep watching, keep studying, keep passionate about the game, and focus on the process rather than the highs and the lows. Kings versus Ace 5. Jorge waited for the spot and he picked up the right hand. He's just got a fade and ace for a 5 on the river. He does. Okay, finds the double. Because a lot of people who are drawn to poker are looking to like make a lot of money quickly, and they're looking to rush up, and that's not the way to really make it in this game. That's the way to, you know, boom and bust. But if you actually really love the game and you want to make consistent money with this game, be patient with it. Slow and steadily develop your game, practice, build up your tolerance to playing for larger amounts, progressively moving up, and just enjoy every hand, every decision, every session. At the same time, don't invest too much time in the game such that you forget about your relationships, your friends, your self-care, your nutrition, your education, things like that, because those are things that are going to pay off in the long run. So apply yourself, put in time, but also try to be a little bit balanced with your time as well so that you have longevity in the game. Because if you're going all in on poker and putting in marathon sessions 24/7, you're going to run out of energy, and energy is what's needed to be able to, you know, stick with the game for the long term and avoid getting sick. I have lots of stories to share about that, but we'll talk about it sometime when we're not doing a final table, because we have a big spot here. It's 2 overs and a flush draw for Andre. It's a set of 9s for Patrick Kennedy, and it's nada for Endrit. Patrick certainly has to bet to protect here. The reason Andre checked instead of betting is because both of these players could easily hit this board with sets, 2 pairs, straights, and yes, 2 overcards and a flush draw looks like a very strong hand. But when it's just a flush draw because you're up against that 2 pair straight or set, your equity is not that great. And so he may be looking to check call. Other thing he could be doing is trying to induce a bet from Patrick to check raise all in and give himself a chance to take down that big pot no showdown. But I think a check call is more likely, and that's what we do see. He now has the nuts, but he's going to play it defensively. He's looking to represent a hand like aces with a diamond, maybe kings with a diamond. And Patrick going to keep betting for protection. Question is, at this point, does Andre move all in? Tough spot. Like, if he just calls, he's representing that overpair that's very afraid, and he gives Patrick the rope to keep betting. I like that bet there. He's not, the jig is not up yet. He's not revealing the strength of his hand yet, showing that he's in fear. And so Patrick, were the river not a 7, may have gone for a value bet there with the set to try to get value from a pocket pair. I like the way Andre played his hand there. Nice hand, nice pickup. All right. Oyvind Jansen is the second person to take advantage of the America's Card Room offer. Remember, we are giving free cash to people who sign up at America's Card Room today. Just make sure you use that sign-up code GRIPST. And let me know your username. We are giving away 10 $10 bankrolls. So far, we have given away 2 of them. 8 more to go. More to go. Still, we have yet to lose anyone from this final table. Still 9-handed. Blinds going up in 13 hands. Not sure if that's 120, 240 or 150, 300. Either way, someone is going to drop soon. We have 1, 2, 3 stacks under 15 bigs, 5 stacks under 22 bigs. This could be an all-in from an aunt. Great hand. We talked about the value of 3-betting these hands earlier. Now this is 3-bet shove. Here, tough spot for Jim. It's 2.2 mil to call. He needs about 40% equity playing for this 5.4 million chip pot. And against this hand, he's doing fine. Against medium pairs, he's doing fine. But he's dominated by, a lot of hands. Ace Kings, Ace Jacks, Ace Queens have him in rough shape. He is going to make the call, and we may see our first KO. King Jack suited for Jim. Ace 5 suited for Anant. Top pair for Jim. And that's drawing dead on the flop, on the turn. Dead on the turn, boys. We have our 9th place finisher, Anant Purohit. Came into the final table with a lot of chips, and he gave them all away to Jim Lefterook. It was a crazy big bluff from Anant that did not work out, and then Jim took the rest of them. So congratulations to Jim getting the chips. Your current chip leader on 16.5 million. And our 9th place finisher is Anant Purohit, taking him $22,250. Not a bad payday for a $1,000 buy-in tournament, but definitely not the result he was hoping for coming into this final table with the stack that he had. A little bit of a punt there. A little bit of a D job. But hey, happens. All right, everyone remaining is guaranteed $30,946, and that number is only going to get higher and higher as we get more eliminations from this final table. Your new chip leader, Jim Lefterook, played like a boss and earned it. Just Young Mook, you didn't make the call here with 10-5, eh? You didn't soul read your opponent. Grab an 8-7. Oh, he did use it just one time. But he ain't calling. Are you calling? This would be the greatest call of all time. He's not calling. Can you call? I mean, Doyle Brunson called with the 10 high. I once had a roommate call me with the 10 high when we were playing heads up because he knew I only check shoved with my draws. And the only draw was like an open-end straight draw that was, 8 high straight draw. And he called me with 10 high. He was good. He was a boss. Did they make any deal? As far as I understand, Top Me 10, there is no deal making on the GG Poker final tables. Or at the WSOP final tables. I think they wanted to maintain the integrity of the WSOP, which has always been like a non-deal making environment. So I think they went with no deals for these events. So what the payouts you see here are the payouts that the players will be getting. Marku, pocket fives, awkward stack size here, 23 bigs. He is just going to fold. And with those awkward stack sizes where you have kind of too much to shove, but not enough to really play multiple streets in position, it's often best to just fold those small pocket pairs that are rarely going to connect with the flop. Welcome to the stream, Miltman, RS, and Milt Chamberlain. We have the Millmen. The Millmen have arrived. Good to see you guys. Glad you could join. And good to see a jack on the turn for Henrik Getchy here. He's got top pair to go with his flush draw. Andre with second pair. I think he checked back the flop. Faded the check raise. Andre gonna need to go for some value here on the river. Andre not looking to bet for him. Showing that he's got some kind of showdown value, whether it's ace high or a pair. A little something, something. Andre going to need to go for some value here on the end. Goes for the over bet. I think he would have been better off just betting a little bit on the turn and then following up with a little bit more on the river. But hey, he wanted to make up for it, and unfortunately he didn't get any value whatsoever by going with that overbet. I think maybe not the best choice of sizing for that particular spot, but as we know, it's a lot easier when we can see the cards than when we can't. All right, Jorge Bra, ace 7 of diamonds, going to raise and take this one down. It's been living on the edge here, managing the short stack the whole way, but has gotten at least one pay jump out of it. Extra 8,000, not too bad. An extra 8 buy-ins. We'll see Ivan Luca should be moving all in here with ace 10. Jorge. I think on 15 bigs, this will be going in. Marku, a little bit of an awkward spot. Doesn't really want to call off with ace rag for a significant amount of his chips. If he had 10 million, 12 million, maybe he makes the call, but that's the thing in tournaments. The greater the percentage of your chips you're risking to make a call, the bigger of an edge you need to have to justify it. Whereas the smaller the percentage of your chips you're risking, the smaller of an edge you need. For more info on that, check out my video, When to Gamble in Poker Tournaments. And you'll find everything you need about that. All right, Seungmook, 8s. Jim might get involved with King Queen, man. Jim's a player. Jim's definitely a player. And he has seen that Seung's opening that Jack 10 offsuit earlier there. But ultimately, Jim respects it. Why? Because he doesn't think from under the gun Seung's opening King Jack, Queen Jack. Hands that Jim dominates. He thinks he's mostly opening Ace King, Ace Queen, hands that dominate him. And some suited hands against which, you know, he's doing fine, but... But because those hands are playing more to make straights and flushes rather than just top pairs, they don't pay off in the same fashion. All right, we will see some action here, though. King, Queen for Jim. 8-9 suited for Seungmook. Pretty dry flop. A couple of backdoor draws for Seungmook here. Backdoor straight draw, backdoor flush draw. But with how shallow the stacks are and the ICM implications of there being 3 shorter stacks, I think this is a spot where Jim can take this one down with a C-bet. About 400,000, probably enough to get the job done. He's going to go on the even smaller side here, 330. Giving Seungmook quite the price to continue, but pretty weak hand. I remember those 1 high card, 2 low card boards, great boards to C-bet for small amounts. Once you get into 2 high cards, 1 low card, you typically want to bet a little bit bigger. More on that in my video, finding the perfect bet size. See Jim coming in with E6 suited. Will Jorge get in there with King Jack suited? Got a lot of players to get through still. Probably not. He's going to take it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Fearlessness. Reasons? Okay, let's look at it a little bit closer. Because at first glance, it's just an early position open. Why is this guy moving in with King Jack suited? Early position open, yes, but we are playing 8-handed. It's almost mid position. But most importantly, biggest stack in the tournament, going to be opening a wider range. One of the smallest stacks in the tournament in the big blind, another reason to open a wider range. So we have 2 factors that lead to Jim having a wider range than usual. One is the short stack in the big blind. The other is the fact that he's the chip lead. And so for that reason, Jorge says, I think he's opening wide enough. And I have fold equity with my 15 blinds. I'm going to make this push, try to increase my stack 33%. And it's looking like that's probably going to happen. Pretty hard for Jim to make a call here with ace rag. We know it's the best hand, but he has no way to know that, and so he is going to find the fold button. And the blinds are up to 120, 240,000. This was a very smooth, progressive structure with every blind level included. And so we see a lot of play on this final table. I think this will be the spot where we see Seungmook ripping it all in with King, Queen. He's got 17 bigs, a great stack size to just push and pray for the best. And he's going to think. And while we wait, if you guys think he's going to shove, go ahead, hit that thumbs up button on YouTube. It helps the channel a lot. And also lets YouTube know that you want to be notified next time I go live with another one of these final table reviews. And we have 4 more in the works coming over the next 4 days. Not sure what time I'm going to be streaming them, but I am just going to keep banging them out, banging them out, banging them out because you guys seem to really enjoy them. Milkman says he loves the live stream. I cannot believe Seungmook folded there. Dude, you're in chat. Where are you? Boss Real, why did you fold there? Please tell us. We are shocked. We are all in shock and awe at that fold. Cannot believe that he laid it down. I know there's a shorter stack there, but I'm blown away. Anyway, let's focus on the hand in play. Endrit defends, flops a gut shot, and he's got ace high, believes it could be the best hand. He's not going anywhere, finding the check call. Now Patrick, he says he was sleeping. Okay, that would do it. And now Patrick turns a combo draw. He turns a combo draw, and he can put some pressure on overcard floats, diamond draw floats. He could also check it back because he has some showdown value with ace high. And yeah, he probably, with the fourth place stack and all these shorter stacks in play, doesn't necessarily want to just build this pot for all in. So he checks back, does have the best hand, but the awkward thing about checking behind with ace high here is, are you willing to call a river bet? When you check back on this turn, you're going to face a river bet a fair bit. Are you willing to call? Also, when you bet this turn, you may fold out a 5, a 4, a better ace high. But when you check behind, except for the times you hit a spade or a 6 on the river, so like a quarter of the time, 3/4 of the time, you just have to fold to a bet. So unless you're planning to call the river there, checking back is a little bit of a risky play. I understand it. He didn't want to risk getting check raised all in. But he could, you know, give himself a nice price, keep his range uncapped. I think it would have been nice to see Patrick Kennedy followed up with another barrel there. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Get back to the tables, bro. Get back to the tables, bro. We have ace king versus ace king action. Oh, there's going to be a chop here. Great time to get some water. I'm just assuming that diamonds aren't coming. Good job, Schleff. Good awareness. Saharian says, hi, I am very happy to be here and to benefit and improve my ability to play. Thanks, man. Thanks for tuning in and happy to help. And dude, thank you to everyone on YouTube for all of the thumbs up, man. I see we have 200 viewers and like 50 likes on the video. That is epic, man. Thank you for your support, YouTubers. Love y'all. Love y'all. That is why, even though I started 12 years ago, I will continue to create content for you guys because you guys are awesome. All right, still down to 8 players here. Still everyone guaranteed $31,000, but they're looking for that payout up top, $299,511. $511. And the coveted World Series of Poker gold bracelet. What do you think they're more interested in, chat? The money or the bracelet? I'm most interested to see what's going to happen here. Endrit can afford it. It's 20 bigs. He might not call for 20 bigs. It's kind of a lot. Ben CB talked about the king-queen trap, which was just like always calling reshoves with king-queen and not thinking, is this a time where my opponent, is this a situation where my opponent would actually reshove with king-jack, queen-jack, king-10, which we'd have in like a button versus small blind? Or is it a spot where he's only going to have ace-king, ace-queen, ace-jack suited, ace-10 suited, and 9s plus? Because in that case, the math isn't actually there to justify calling. So, probably a good laydown there by Endrit against the overall range that Marku had. We saw in that particular spot, the price was just right, but against the overall range, probably the right play to lay it down. Okay, Young Mook finding pocket kings. Takes it down. Ace Jack for Jim. Gonna open. Young Mook in the big blind. This is a nice spot to go either way. Because of how much Jim has been opening, Young Mook could just ship it in here with sixes. It's a fairly strong hand, does reasonably well in all ins. And on the other hand, if he wants to go with the lower variance approach because there are two shorter stacks, he could just call. He's getting 4-1 immediate. He only needs to make another million post flop when he flops the set to get his odds for set mining. And there's a chance he may be able to get the hand to showdown. That's the tough part. 3 streets out of position to try to get to go check, 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 check. But there's a chance when opponent has ace high. That's, yeah. Now Jim putting a little bet out there, and this is where it starts to get a little dicey for Young Mook. He has the best hand against ace highs. Doesn't have the best hand if Jim is checking back with a pair. And now he no longer has the best hand. Counterfeit on the river. That 8 is going to give 10s and 8s to Jim with an ace kicker. And going to go check, check on the river. All right, another pot for Jim. He's starting to run away with it. He's making a play, going for the win. He's up to 17 million in chips. It's 71 big blinds. Got 5 million chip lead over second place. And let's see what happens here. Ivan Luca defending the big blind with 4-9 suited, flops a pair. Have to imagine he's at least calling the flop. Welcome into the stream, XGEB_. Now he turns a flush draw as well. So, I mean, if all his outs are good, which they are, not to mention he has the best hand, he could call up to a pot-sized bet here. So a quarter pot bet, I don't expect he's going to be folding. He is just going to check call. River's a flush. I wonder if he might, thought he might lead it maybe. Makes the best hand, takes the price all the way down, and Ivan Luca, the most decorated player on this final table, in the mix. He's up to 3.5 million in chips, and now we see that it's getting kind of bunched here at the bottom. From 5th to 8th, Patrick Kennedy to Young Mook, everyone has between 3.2, 3.9 million, 13 to 16 big blinds. So anyone's game, a lot of ICM pressure in play now that these guys are all kind of short together, which means Jim can probably start putting a lot of pressure on Endrit, second place stack, Andre and Marku, the third and fourth place stacks with 23 and 25 bigs. This is a beautiful time to be Jim Lefteruck with all the chips. Oh, is that what happened, Phoenix? He limped with the 8-7 suited. I get it. He wanted to see a flop against two reshove stacks, but I think I just like a raise more this spot. All right, Marku, ace-4 suited. Yes, yes. Voroshilova, welcome to the stream. Asking about the final table reviews. Yes, GG reached out to us in the summer and requested that we do some commentary on some final tables. They asked if we could review about 5 or 10. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to review all the No Limit Hold'em final tables that I can. And we've gotten up to 15. This will be our 16th, and we have 4 more. And we're going to review 20 final tables from the World Series of Poker 2020. Maybe it leads to us doing more reviews with GG in the future, maybe on their channel. We can hope for the best. For now, we're just grateful to have access to this incredible training content and to be able to share it with the YouTube and the Twitch community. See Jim, being Jim, Chip leading. These guys are loving their emojis. Just having so much fun. And Jim, man, he's got the big stack. He's got position on the second place stack. Just living the dream right here. As we're still dealing with 8 players, but stacks are getting short. Chips are going to be going in the middle very soon. Someone's going to be getting kicked out in 8th for 31K, and we're going to start experiencing those 5-figure pay jumps around the corner. Remember, this is the $1,000 six max event from the World Series of Poker event number 73. I believe it was a player's choice event. They requested it. They got it. And these 8 players are playing for $300,000 and a coveted World Series of Poker golden bracelet. Marku defends the big blind with the suited king, flops the best of it, but he will have to tread cautiously. I like this min bet from Patrick. He's keeping his range uncapped. He's giving himself the best chance to get to the showdown cheaply here. Kind of pricing himself in to go for the gut shot. And the main thing he's doing by betting small here is he's preventing his opponent from putting a big bet in on the turn should he check back. So Patrick checks behind here. Caps his range so he can't have a big ace or something. Then Marku can hit him with the big barrels, maybe even the overbets. Then you're in a tough spot if you're Patrick. So instead he bets small, which he could do with, ace 10, ace jack as well. Now he can check back on the turn, see the river for free, or with his improved hand, he can build up. He can buy the showdown for cheap. So again, he's betting again. Marku probably going to call here. He does have him covered, so he could take the high risk play. He's going to check call. And now the question is, will Patrick fire one more barrel? What do you think, chat? He's got the blocker. 2 blockers to the straight. He's got one of the blockers to the flush. Will he empty the clip? If he does, will it work? I don't think he's going to go for it. But I've been wrong before. If he goes for all of it, it will be a tough spot for Marku because he loses to all 2 pairs. Ace, queen, ace, king, ace 5, king, queen. Straights, jack 10, flushes. He loses to a lot of hands, and a lot of the hands that he's beating, like ace jack, ace 10, king jack, queen jack, would have checked behind on the river. So he's only beating a bluff here. Question is he going to put Patrick on the bluff? This is an interesting line from Patrick. And see, he kept his range uncapped by going small bet, and never checking. So he could have the nut flush. He could have top 2 pair. Dicey spot for Marku, and he's going to fold. Patrick gets it through. This is the power of playing in position with an uncapped range against a player who's out of position with a capped range. Is you can make plays like that, and there's not too much that their opponent can do. So great play there from Patrick Kennedy. Used his 10s blockers to win a massive pot for Marku. Also notice the sizing he took along the way. Small bet, keep Marku's range wide. Small bet, keep Marku's range wide. Almost a pot size bet on the river. Big pressure, a lot of fold equity. Hard for Marku to make a call there. If he bet bigger on the flopper turn so that the price on the river was better, like he was left with fewer chips on the river, Marku would be getting better odds on a call, more likely to make a hero call. But that pot size bet, 80 to 120% pot size bet, is usually going to get the most folds without looking absurdly bluffy, right? Whereas those 150, 200% overbets can look kind of bluffy. So really nice sizing there from Patrick. He showed he had a plan the whole way through, executed it beautifully, and got the result he was looking for. What up, Mike Davis? So it's typical for final tables of 6-handed events to be either 7-handed or 8-handed, so that on the final table bubble, they don't have like one table playing 5-handed and 4-handed or 4-handed and 3-handed. But what the WSOP did for this final table is they decided to make it 9-handed so that more people could say they made a WSOP final table. And I really like that decision that they made. Welcome in Aaron from the UK, and welcome in Milkman from Toronto. Where are you playing Undergrounds, Milp? I wonder if I've played with you before. Marku, flatten in position. Flop's the best hand. A little surprised that Endra didn't even fire a C-bet there, but it's probably, you know, related to the topic we were talking about earlier, where as people have shorter stacks in tournaments, they're going to be trapping a bit more. And therefore, Marku probably doesn't have a ton of hands that are folding on this flop. All right, Young Mook taking it down. Well, actually, that's all right. Yeah, that's it. You got it. YDNA. Marku opens. Ace King suited. It's Young Mook. Awkward spot here. Got a hand that he would have liked to shove if it folded to him, but facing an open from a tighter player, he does a good job of finding the fold. Now it's Young Mook's turn with aces. Ah, you hate to see it. He's watching the replays like, that guy folded ace-9 to my open? He didn't even think about it? Sour. Sour showers. Oh, well. Happens, it happens, it happens. Marku find the open one more time in a row. Gonna go for it here. Jim. Ace-Jack in the small blind. Take one here. Play cautiously post-flop, of course. He's not crushing Marku's opening range here. This will be an interesting flop. Top pair for both players. 10-eye flush draw for Marku. Played other way. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a small bet or a check here. He's going to go with the checking strategy. And now Jim going to take the lead. Get some value here. Going with the small sizing here because, yes, he can be ahead of pocket pairs below an ace. But he can also be behind ace queen, ace king that check back the flop. So he's not looking to build a big pot, but he's looking to charge his opponent a little bit. Got some equity. Yo, what up, Unflushable Piss? Welcome to the stream, man. Glad you could tune in for our second FT review in a row. Marku going for big value. Jim with the snap call, hoping his opponent's bluffing. He is not. And Marku takes a nice pot down. Well, okay, we have big action here. It's kings for Andre, jacks for Patrick, ace-10 suited for Young Mook. Question is, how will Patrick play it? He's only got 21 bigs. Very awkward stack size in this spot. He's going to move all in, and that is probably going to spell disaster. Unless the Milkman is correct, in which case we would need to see a jack on this run out. Andre, huge favorite here. It's kings versus jacks for 10.8 million. One card left to go. No paint, no problem. That's going to be almost a full double up for Andre Dershipilski. Running hot indeed. And we have our 8th place finisher, Patrick Kennedy, going to be taking home $30,946.10 for the 8th place finish. Nice performance. We did see some nice plays there by him. A lot of heart and commitment to the game. Now all our remaining players are guaranteed $43,040, and it's only going up from there. $59,000 for 6th, $83,000 for 5th, $115,000 for 4th, $161,000 for 2nd, $224,000 for 2nd, and $299,511 for 1st, plus the coveted golden World Series poker bracelet. Little surprised we didn't see Jim go for the 3-bet there with ace-5 suited, but maybe he is a tiny bit shell-shocked from the previous pot. That's okay. Dynamics Rocks says, hey Gripst, how's it going? I picked up a 2nd place in a 1650 Bounty Biller last night on Poker Stars. Way to get stacking, man. Thank you very much for your content, for helping specifically the aggression aspect. I think I had been more passive lately and less aggressive. Lost 2-1 chip lead, heads up. Well, congratulations on the score. Yeah, triple threat, baby. Position, aggression, selection. That's how we get it done. And it's the foundation of a winning poker strategy. Speaking of aggression, Andre using his blockers here. King and Jack blockers to attack the loose button open from Marku. Your aces are your best blockers. Kings, queens, your secondary blockers. Jacks, 10s, your tertiary blockers. If you have an ace in your hand and you're facing a button open and you're in the small blind, often shallow stacks in a tournament, especially if you cover them, it's a fine hand to 3-bet with. If you got a secondary and a tertiary blocker, that works too. A king 10, queen jack, things like that. You're feeling solid. Oh my goodness. Look at these hands once again. Jacks for Jorge. Ace jack suited for Andre. Ace king for Seungmook. And king queen for Ivan Luca. This is a big spot, man. Jorge effectively committing himself to the pot. Andre deciding, is it worth playing for 10 big blinds here? Is it necessary? He's going to ISO. And Seungmook, I think the hand's probably too strong to fold ace king. He could potentially fold and get one ladder here for $16,000, but missing out on the shot to double. Also, if he gets busted here and Andre wins, then he still gets the pay jump. So the only way Seungmook doesn't get the pay jump here is if Jorge wins the main pot and Andre wins the side pot. So he's feeling pretty good. It's jacks versus ace king versus ace jack. Only one jack left in the deck. He's just got to fade that jack. Jorge's like, should I fold and free roll a shot at making an extra 16,000? Still have 4 blinds instead of 8. Could jacks be good with 2 players going all in? I mean, they are. See what he decides to do. Machinist Joe says, you have a great speaking voice. Thank you. And here we are. Jacks versus ace jack suited versus ace king. You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me. Is that how they did you, Boss Real? That is how they took you out. Seungmook. Oh my god, make that a 10. Wow. Disgusting. Jorge finds the triple up. Andre wins the side pot, and Seungmook, who had the best of it for the side pot, gets KO'd in 7th place for $43,040. Not a bad result for a 1K buy-in tournament. I mean, you come in for $1,000 buy-in, you cash for $43,040, 42K profit for 12 hours of work. It's all right. It's all right. Obviously, the man wanted to run deeper. If he folded there would have been no pay jump, man. Props to you for going for it. Props to you for the awareness that you had the best hand against Andre. Just a super unlucky run out. It was a joy watching you play, man. Thank you for sharing the experience with us. And congrats on the 7th place finish. Now we're down to the final 6. Every player remaining guaranteed $60,000. It's $59,681 for 6th, $83,254 for 5th, $115,791 for 4th, $161,042 for 3rd, $223,978 for 2nd, $299,511 for 1st, and we're probably going to see some action here. Andre opening with the suited king. This is something you can do when you have one of the bigger stacks. He's in 2nd place. He can totally justify this. Suited kings, suited aces, obviously, some suited queens even. He's running into some hands here, though. It's ace king for Endred on the button, ace queen suited for Jim in the small blind, and ace 9 suited and spades as well in the big blind for Jorge. We'll probably just see a 3-bet here from Endred, though. Wow, that's excessively large. If he went for a smaller sizing here, Jim may have cold 4-bet over the top and given Endred some action, but because he just open rips 40 blinds, I think this becomes an easy fold for Jim. This seems like a very scared ace king, a big overplay of the hand. Not a fan of this play at all. Not a fan of this play at all. It's going to let Jim off the hook. And going to be the minimum loss for everyone. So while we're waiting on this, let's review our stacks. Ivan Luca, the man with 6.5 million in live winnings and a whole bunch more online, probably 10 plus million tournament winnings. He's a beast. His girlfriend's a crusher too. Just one of the all-time greats from the tournament poker scene. EPT, WPT, WSOP, LAPT. The man knows what he's doing. He's in 6th place with 12.2 big blinds. Then we have the players who are bunched together. Jorge from Brazil came in as one of the short stacks and has laddered up well. So is Ivan. Both of these guys were very short at the start of the final table. They've now laddered up 3 spots from having 22K locked up to having 60K locked up. Feels good, man. He's got 29.8 bigs. Marku, also a big winner with 1.2 million in live earnings, has 33.7 big blinds. Then we have Andre here from the Ukraine, who we don't know too much about. We just know that he's been playing well. We saw a great play from the Ukrainians yesterday, and we're seeing it again today. They just play a very solid game of poker. Those Eastern Europeans, man, they're just bosses when it comes to these strategy games. He's in 3rd with 43 bigs, tied with Endred there, who has 44 bigs, although if I had to put my money on one of the two of them, it would definitely be Andre from what we've seen so far. And our chip leader is the wild card, Jim Lefteruk, who we didn't have much information about coming into this final table. But he's been playing very well. And, you know, he's hit some boards, but he's played his hands in such a fashion that he got max value in all the spots. So if you've been impressed with his play, man, get the LFGs in the chat, and I'm going to put my money on Canada here and hope that Jim Lefteruk from Canada can take the chip lead all the way to the win and bring a bracelet home for the boys. See, Marku. We're going to see a lot of play here. Nice deep stacks here with the exception of Ivan Luca, who has 12 bigs. Everyone's got a lot of chips, a lot of play. And if Ivan finds a double, oh, we're going to see some incredible poker. That's for sure. Marku trying to see a free flop. Not going to happen. Andre is saying, I got position. It doesn't matter what I have. I'm raising. I'm always raising. And speaking of that double for Ivan Luca, it may be here. Marku with ace on the button, certainly going to open. Although I don't know that he's going to call off a shove here for 12 bigs, ace 6. I think it's a little bit too weak and a few too many chips. Maybe if it was for like 8 blinds or something. But I think 12 big blinds is a few too many chips to be calling off. So I think this one will probably just get through. 2.3 million to call into a pot of about 6 million. Yeah, too many chips. Nice lay down there from Marku. Nice awareness of the situation. Now, Ivan Luca up to 15 bigs. See, ooh. Marku opens. Ivan's going to shove. If Marku opts to pass on this one, we may see fireworks. Blind versus blind, a big ace, good to go. A pocket pair, usually good to go. Question is, how is Ivan going to play? Is he just going to shove for 15 blinds? Is he going to raise for a smaller amount to induce a shove? No, he's just going to shove. Now, Endrit, he can afford it. Ivan's going to be shoving deuces and trays here, as well as ace-2 suited and ace-3 suited, so he may find the call here for 15 bigs. He may also decide that he doesn't need to take the variance, though. He's got a comfortable stack on 9.7 million. If he calls and loses, he's tied with the other short stacks. If he calls and wins, he moves from third to second. Not a huge increase in position. I don't know. What do you think, chat? Would you guys gamble in this spot? Oh, with sixes, he's snap calling. Anything bigger than that, he's snap calling. Fours is a little bit of an awkward hand, though. It's beaten by a lot more pairs than it's beating. And for that reason, I think he's going to lay it down. He does lay it down indeed. All right. Very quick word from our sponsors. If you want to become a tournament crusher, check out gripst.com/free. It's up there. And then click on the MTT package. You can get a premium tournament training package with $200 of training material over, I think, like 6 hours of video material and a 30-day custom training program. And special offer for Thanksgiving if you create a new America's Card Room account today using the sign-up code GRIPST and let me know your username in Twitch or YouTube chat. I will give you a free $10 and all this training material absolutely free to wish you a happy Thanksgiving. Only eligible for new accounts, but you don't need to live in the States to take advantage of it. International players can sign up on America's Card Room too. I'll put a link in chat for that. Hope you all take advantage, and we are going to get right back to the action. Because I know that's what you guys came here to see. What you guys came here to see. All right. Can we get it? Can we get it? There we go. Let's just skip ahead down to the final 6 players at this event 73 from the 2020 WSOP, brought to you by GG Poker and your boy E from Gripst Poker Training. We started this tournament with 2,202 players. Everyone here ponied up 1,000 USD to get in on this tournament. We're down to the final 6. Everyone remaining is guaranteed a minimum payday of $59,681. 2 spots away from that 6-figure territory. And then big money up top. $223 for second, $299,000 for first, plus World Series Poker Golden Bracelet. And looks like Ivan took a little bit too long on the break. No big deal. Gonna see some action here. Awkward stacks, 40 blinds deep. Andre covers. We may just see a flat from Endrit. Definitely a strong enough hand to 3-bet, but playing a 3-bet pot out of position, 40 blinds deep. It's enough stack depth for the in-position player to really navigate. Which makes it a little concerning to 3-bet. Now we'll see. Is Jim going to go for the 4-bet? The only thing about the 4-bet is it would basically be committing him to the pot. He'd be getting the right price. Does have the biggest stack in the tournament. Does he want to risk potentially about half his chips versus these 2 players? The cold 4-bet it. You have to make it at least 3.4 million. Feeling like he may have the best of it though. Ace queen, pretty premium hand. Earlier, Endrit just like 3-bet shoved his ace king, so he's less likely to have it here. And Jim knows it, man. Puts in the cold 4-bet for 4.08 million, takes it down. And see, that's the thing. If Endrit had done that sizing the previous hand with ace king, he would have got that action from Jim. But because he just over-shoved it, Jim folded. And that's why you don't want to just over-shove your ace kings and turn your hands face up. You want to play a little bit more disguised than that so you can get action from the hands you want to get action from, not force out all the hands that you beat and only get action from the hands that beat you. Anyway, blinds are up 140, 280,000. Jim Lefteruck, your chip leader, now has 2x second place, and we're probably going to see some fun now. He knows that Andre's opening a lot of hands. He's got him out chipped by a bunch. He may start amping up the 3-betting game at this point. Here we go, 1.608 million. Andre has a hand that normally would like to take a flop, but with it being chip lead against second place stack and there being one pretty short stack and a couple of medium stacks as well, Andre is not looking to tango. He's not looking to dance with the chip leader. So Jim's going to be able to get a lot of 3-bets through. This would be one spot where it's not going to work out, but I don't think he's going to be getting in there with the 8-3-0 double down. Ivan Luca debating 6-8 suited. Probably wishing he had something more in the way of face cards, in the way of blockers. On these shallower stacks, sub 20 big blind suited connectors are not really all that great of hands. Generally best to just be open folded. Pocket aces though. That's a good hand. A good hand for sure. You see Endrit coming in for a raise here. Almost a sure thing. And Marku, as we saw earlier, defending with ace deuce. No piece of the flop though here, so he's probably just going to be folding it. Right, next hand, we will definitely see Jim opening it up here. Coming in hot. And takes it down, no contest, no sweat, no problemo. Could see a little bit of action here. Pocket sevens for Marku, ace-6 suited for Andre. Although with this stack size, yeah, open shoving with the pair makes sense, and Andre not going to be making a play there. Marku came in with the min bet. We may have seen a 3-bet from Andre, but Marku was not looking to have that. He just says, I'll wager all my betting units, please and thank you. Man, I'm impressed with Jorge. Just managed to survive the whole way through this final table, no sweat. Willing to raise, fold those ace jacks and king jacks under the gun. We see Ivan Luca folding sevens without a thought there. Because Jorge's not going to be opening smaller pairs there. He's only going to have bigger pairs, so no need to get involved. This one will be interesting. If Andre opens, I'd like to see what Ivan does. It's not going to happen though. Marku opening. And nice spot for Andre here to potentially 3-bet. It's probably going to be a 3-bet fold spot. I don't think he's going to be flatting. He has those, you know, second tier blockers we were talking about, but 2 of them, king and a queen. So he decreases the chance his opponent has kings, queens, ace, king, ace, queen. And so he goes for a 3-bet there in position. Well played, well executed. He's going to take that one down. That's pocket nines for Jim. Tournament chip leader. Running the show. Raise and take that down. Question chat. We have about an hour with some pauses, maybe about an hour and a half left in this final table. Would you guys rather do a double header and review another final table after this? Or would you rather play a home game and get some poker going? You guys are more than welcome to play with me in a home game. Let me know what you would prefer. Let's get some votes out in chat. Twitch, I'm talking to you. YouTube, I'm talking to you. You want to see a double header? Or do you want to play some cards after this final table is done? Celebrating Free Money Friday. The last Free Money Friday of November 2020. May have some big things coming in December. Ivan Luca picks up King Queen. Dipset, he's going to take it down. Mancy says, hey Evan, good to catch your video live. Your reviews rock, buddy. Thank you, Mancy. Much appreciated. You guys feel like Mancy, smash that thumbs up button. Help us crush it on YouTube. More importantly, it lets YouTube know that you want to know next time I go live with another final table review. So we got 4 more planned for the rest of the month. Yo, thank you for that feedback, Mancy. That's really awesome. All right, Jim. Oh man, Jim going for it. Can you imagine if the flop came like 3-4-5? 3-4-5? No. A poker fan can wish, right? A poker fan can dream and hope that there's going to be an action flop. Unfortunately, didn't get it this time. A little flush draw for Marku. Nothing for anybody else. I'm going to take this moment to take a sip because there's nothing to see here, folks. Yeah, 5 on the river would be action. How about a jack? How about a jack? Marku's flush. Still the best hand. Wonder if he's going to go for like a little block bet here or a little check call. Does anyone want to bluff at it? Maybe Jim wants to try to fold someone off of ace high here. He's going to go for it. You got to think a queen would have bet earlier. A jack may have checked to this point, but I think a queen would have bet earlier, so it's an unlikely jack or a much more likely bluff. And that's what Marku's just running through right now. He's actually going to fold, and Jim is going to take this one down with the counterfeit 5s. When you both know you can't win at showdown and your opponent has shown no interest in the pot, decent time to go for a bluff. A mistake a lot of people make is they go for a bluff on the river because they can't win at showdown, but they haven't. Their opponent has shown interest in the pot earlier. The 2 things you want to have going for you when you're just going to bluff at a river is 1, your opponent has shown no interest in the pot. That's more important. And secondary, that you can't win at showdown. If your opponent's shown interest in the pot, doesn't matter if you can win at showdown or not. You shouldn't just bluff because you can't win at showdown. The more important thing is that your opponent has a weak range and they're unlikely to have a strong enough hand to call you. Jorge picking up top pair, top kicker, gut shot, and a backdoor flush draw for Andre. Decides to not even continue there. Not interested in taking the price as the implied odds aren't there. It's not worth it. He's comfortable being in second place right now. Doesn't need to risk any more chips. Vora Shalova asks if I'm going to play the main event. Currently not planning on it. The 10K is a little bit outside of my comfort zone. If there was like a 1K mini main event, you can bet your bottom dollar I'll be playing that. 100 zillion %. But 10K online, probably not. 10K live, sure. 10K online, probably not. Even if I had backers for it, I'd probably skip on the 10K. I just think the field would be a little bit too stacked and the end game would be a little bit too tough. But oh yeah, if there's a mini main, a little 1K buy-in, let's go. I'm all over it. All right, so we have votes for home game. We have votes for doubleheader. We have votes for free money. All right, so we'll talk through all the options shortly. First, we have aces for Marku here. Looks like I'll just do a raise and take. So if we play a home game, guys, it will be on America's Card Room. I'll put a link in both chats for that. And for free money today, the first 10 people to create new America's Card Room accounts with the sign-up code GRIPSED, GRIPSED, will get a free $10 from me. Currently, we have 4 people who have already claimed, so there are 6 more free $10 bankrolls available, which you could use for the home game. And then in terms of double header, we can do a vote thereafter. The tournaments we have available after this one to review are the $300 Monster Stack 6 Max, the 840 Turbo Bounty, which we could do as like a quickie, you know, a quick 1 hour final table. That seems fun. $500 Deep Stack and the $400 40 Stack. So we have 3 more Deep Stack tournaments and 1 more Turbo. And I'm thinking if we do a double header, a Turbo makes sense. And honestly, we could probably do home game and then Turbo and then get the double header in. So we get best of both worlds. That's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think. Both players have flopped a gut shot here. An 8 would make Jim the 10 high straight, and a jack would make Jorge the king high straight. Both of them brick. John Hutchison says 200 watching. Can we get 200 likes? I don't know. I've clicked the like button. I did my part. I clicked the like button. If we can get this thing to 100, man, I don't even know what I'll do. I might leave it up to chat as to what we should do if I do that. We'll see. Jim 2-barreling, applying the pressure, big stack versus small stack. I think Jorge's going to have to fold here. It's a great spot to 2-barrel. He can fold out king jack, king 10, 10-8, 10-7. What other gut shots do we have there, chat? He puts a lot of pressure on a 9, pressure on a queen. Jim Lefterock, man, using his chips very well. And Mark with ace-9 probably going to get it. Putting a raise here. Limping strategy has not been working out too well. So if he's limping, I'd imagine it is to limp shove. But Andre is actually going to let him see a free flop here. We're just going to go check, check here. Stab from Marku. Ace high is the best hand, but that's an interesting turn card, given Andre a queen high flush draw. And wow, Andre takes the free river. Makes, I mean, that's the nut flush now, because the ace is out there. And Marku with the 9 high flush, either going to go for a block bet here or have to pay off one. It's a good spot for Andre to go. Chunky sizing. Try to figure an amount that the jack of clubs or the 10 of clubs could call with, or in this case, the 9 of clubs. He's going to go with 3/4. I think he's going to get called. It's a nice pot for Andre, man. Playing his position well. Taking his free river. Getting his just desserts. All right. Phoenix says, Ivan's so patient nursing that small stack all night. That's what a professional does, man. Never gives up. He's going to be calling here with ace jack. Looking to double up, man. He gets this double up. He'll be in fourth. Making sure, checking all the ICM. He's got a fade of 4 and some hearts. Wow, now he's got a fade of 3, a 4, and the hearts, and a 5, a deuce for the chop. Andre using his running hot, which is what you're supposed to do. Not quite enough heat to get that one done. Ivan Luca finds the double up, and we may get ourselves a show now. Told you guys he knows what he's doing. Now that he's got 20 bigs, plenty of play for a player of his caliber. See a very good show. Thomas asks, hey Evan, which poker solver programs are you using, or which one would you recommend? For general stuff, Payouts solver is the way to go. It's a hefty investment, but it's definitely the way to go. If you aren't ready to invest that much money, depending on what you want to work on. If you're working on pre-flop shoving ranges, ICMizer and the quiz features are great. If you're looking on pre-flop opening ranges, Range Trainer Pro is fantastic. They have a Black Friday sale going on right now where you can get 30% off. What else? I haven't used like Simple Poker or like GTO Range Builder, the post-flop ones, because I think Pio is just kind of the gold standard and it's the way to go. But yeah, otherwise, if you don't want to invest in the solver, but you want to work on post-flop stuff, I'd say get a membership, Poker Coaching Premium. They're doing them for 78% off right now for Black Friday. And you can get the outputs and you can get the analysis from people who are running the solver. So you can get Michael Acevedo's breakdowns of solver outputs. You can get James Romero's breakdowns of solver outputs, Faraz Jackas, Jonathan Littles. And a lot of times getting that analysis of the breakdowns and the outputs is more valuable than just the outputs themselves. I found that was the greatest way to learn about solvers and what they're kind of saying and the trends and patterns they're showing. But in terms of like which one to use for self-study, BioSolver, I don't really know what other option there would be. No problem, Thomas, man. Happy to help. And actually, Bluff the Spot has a good thing for how to study effectively with BioSolver in that high stakes course from MMA SureDog. I think they have I think they have a big thing going for Black Friday too, but I need to get the details. So feel free to send me an email, Thomas. I sent you my email address in the chat. You can just fire me one off and get you the info. Amatola says live? Yes. And I am awake. Yes, you are. Awesome. Love your commentary, Evan. Thank you, Amatola. Much appreciated. Yeah, we're sweating this 1K WSOP 6 max final table. Everyone here guaranteed $59,681, and it's just going to keep going up from here. Blinds are going up in 5 hands. We've been keeping a close eye on Ivan Luca, one of the all-time most legendary players in the tournament circuit. Marku Koplima, also a very accomplished mid-stakes tournament player. Been putting on a great performance. And Andre, man, I've been super impressed with Andre's play and Jim's play. These guys have just been like crushing it. Endrit's done some suspect stuff. Jorge's done a great job nursing the small stack. He's just been really short that there hasn't been a ton like to analyze from him, but he's definitely playing well. We've seen a very strong performance from pretty much everyone on this final table, so props to them. Jim opening 6-3 suited. He's just using his chip lead at this point. He's got more than double second place's stack. So he's going to be opening pretty much anything playable and firing a lot of C-bets and putting a lot of pressure in post-flop. Like here, he should probably fire 500K or so. And anytime Andre does not have a heart or a 10 in his hand, he's going to fold. See, perfect bet there, 485,000. Takes it down. He's just going to raise, c-bet, raise, c-bet, raise, c-bet, raise, c-bet. That's what you want to do when you have the big stack. I don't know if you go as wide as 8 deuce suited, but suited gappers, suited 2 gappers, suited face cards, Broadway cards, connected cards, pairs, aces, like even offsuit aces, all these hands are going to be plenty good enough for Jim to be opening. Especially as there are short stacks in play. Because what's the pay jump for outlasting from 6th to 5th? 24K. That's a good amount of money. Very good amount of money. Andre opening pocket sixes here. Don't think Endrit's gonna defend this. Now Jim loving life, man. Getting walks. Sitting on 24 mil. All right, blinds up to 160, 320,000, and that significantly changes things. Putting a lot more pressure on the short stacks now. Marku has 3.7 mil. Jorge has 3.8 mil. That's only 11 and 12 bigs. So very short stacks there. Ivan Luca also pretty short on 14 bigs, but again, he's going to know how to navigate this stack very well. Your medium stacks, Andre with 26 bigs, Endrit with 31 bigs. That's not a ton of chips. So Jim is just going to have free reign here. Just to open, 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 open. Anytime Endrit or Andre opens, Jim can 3-bet so long as these short stacks are in play. And he can just basically apply maximum ICM pressure. So I think from what we've seen so far, Jim knows what he's doing. So I think we're going to see a good performance here and a good use of the chip stack that he has. And in terms of short stack play, man, pay attention to Ivan Luca. He's been playing incredibly well so far on this final table. I don't expect that to stop anytime soon. Really good stuff on this 6 max final table. I want to say big thank you to everyone in Twitch chat and YouTube chat for voting for this final table, because we had a lot of different ones we could have reviewed. And this 6 max, this 1K 6 max has been an incredible learning experience. So thank you for voting for this one. You may not realize it, but I learned just as much from watching these final table reviews as you guys do, maybe even more. So you give me a reason to do these reviews, and I just want to say thank you for that, because it's extremely beneficial to my game as well. Just, you know, teamwork making the dream work. All right, Jim gonna open up here. Ivan's probably just gonna fold ace-9. You know, if it folded around to him, he'd be shoving, but he's gonna fold. Endrit has a hand that feels like it would be a nice defend king 3 suited, and he is gonna take a flop. It's just second place versus chip leader. He's gonna face so much pressure post flop, so many barrels post flop, that I think he'd probably be better off just folding pre flop rather than going for the defend. He's gonna need to hit very hard to be able to withstand the heat to actually make it to the river here. And Jim can just go Donkey Kong with the barrels, and we'll see the beginning of them here. Let's see if 600K takes it down. I think Endrit's probably better off just like not even playing that spot. Amatola asks, any chance of getting some non-FT review, just because it would be interesting to see the non-ITM gameplay? We only have access to the final tables themselves. I do offer final table review service, so if someone wants to book a coaching session, I do reviews of tournaments from start to finish, so that's something that I offer. In terms of just general tournament runs, I do have like, I think 100 tournament videos on grips.com that are final tables and non-final tables. And for Thanksgiving special, you can get a free 1-month pro membership. So I'll put a link in the chat so that anyone who wants access to all those reviews from start to finish can have access to them, because unfortunately YouTube took some of them down. All right, we see Endrit limping in with ace king suited here. Reason why he didn't want to get 3-bet by Jim. I still think he should just open it, and if Jim 3-bets him, he can 4-bet all in. Strange play here. But yeah, yo, shout out to M. Jones continuing the gift sub from Juju Vidzone. And that gets us to our sub goal for the day. Let's go. That means, you know what that means, chat? It means we're playing a home game after this final table review is done. It means we're playing the home game after the final table review is done. Sub goal accomplished. M Jones, thank you to our longest time supporter. What's the monthly count at now, M Jones? 56, 57 months? 57 months. Look at this. Look at this guy, man. Guy's been subbed for 57 months. That is a top supporter of the channel, man. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, man. Can I get some iridescent G's in the chat for M Jones, the ledge? All right, big pot going down here. It's ace-8 for Marku. You can't blame the guy for pushing 10 bigs on the button, but Ivan Luca has picked up ace-queen in the big blind. Marku hates life right now, but an 8 could turn things around. Eight and an 8 only will do it. That's not going to cut it. The queen is going to play. Ivan Luca has survived from coming into this final table as a super short stack. And now he's guaranteed 83K. More importantly, he's got 8 million in chips. He's not in last anymore. He's in fourth. He's got 25 bigs. He can play very well. I told you guys, keep an eye on this man, Ivan Luca. He's showing you why he is one of the best to ever play tournament poker, man. Exactly, Thomas. That's exactly what we're saying. So congratulations to Marku Koplima. Played very well. Added another 60,000 to his lifetime career earnings. But now we're getting into the big money territory, people. It's $83,000 guaranteed for all the remaining players. And the top 4 players will be receiving 6-figure paydays. 115,000 for fourth, 161,000 for third, $223,000 for second, and $299,511 for first, plus the coveted World Series of Poker bracelet. Ivan Luca knows the numbers here. I'm curious to see if he's going to call here. It's a 10 big blind reshove. He's not getting the best price. The come on makes it look a little stronger. Very curious to see if he's going to call here. I think we saw Chrissy B make a call like this at the 6max final table, which was one of the best final tables in terms of educational experience. These 6max tournaments always bring out the best. But interesting to see if Ivan will fold or call this one. It's for 11 bigs. Bigs, man. This is clearly a super close spot considering the ICM factors for about a third of it. If he calls and wins, he'll be clearly in second place. But if he calls and loses, he will be in last place. And I think for that reason, folding and just maintaining his position tied for third is probably worth more than gambling here. But he's the EPT legend. I'm just the dude in the corner of the screen. We'll see what happens. Welcome in, Bogvant. Good to see you, man. How are things going with the Costa Rica planning? I got a place down on the water in Canada. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I don't need to go anywhere. I mean, I'd like some nice weather, but I don't need it. So doing some Qigong today by Lake Ontario. Love that sound track. Thank you for the sub, Mitch2888. Can we get a bunch of $1 million bills in the chat? If I'm not mistaken, my man Mitch just cashed for like $5,000 in an MTT. Absolute bossed it. Let's get some hype in the chat. Let's get some $1 million money bills for the homie who just got it done while we wait for Ivan Luca to make up his mind as to what he's going to do. Yeah, Luca, I mean, Luca knows he has like 9s, 8s, 7s, and other pairs. The question is, does he ever have ace-9, ace-8? We know he has ace-2, ace-3, ace-4, ace-5 suited. But in terms of offsuit aces, Does he ever have ace 9 here, ace 8 here? Those are the hands that really need to be showing up in the range for Ivan to be finding a call here, I think. Congrats on the score, Mitch. That's awesome, man. It's an incredible feeling winning a tournament. I think for the reasons I mentioned that I would fold here. But I'm also on the more conservative side. I'm more on the side of let's like ladder up this thing, whereas some other players are like go for the win. Also, like Ivan's got 20 bigs. He can make plays with that stack. It's maneuverable. And blinds aren't going up for a while, so I think he has enough play to go for it. All right, he gets it through. I think it's a good fold by Ivan there. And Jim just continuing to build his chip lead. Does he have freaking triple? What everyone else has? Yeah, and just watch him just crush it. Computer says no. Monkey may, man. Maybe he was calling Ivan on the randomizer there. Hard to know for real, but sup, Stozy folks. If there was any foul play, GG would catch that because GG is so on top of that stuff, man. They don't let anyone get away with anything. Machinist Joe RTA is real-time assistance. There's been some stories about it happening in some events where people were, running solvers while they were playing and getting the solver, the dream machine, to give them the answer as to what they should do. It's against the terms of service. It is illegal by the poker site policy, and it leads to you getting not just banned from the site, but your money confiscated as well. So not even worth looking into, in my opinion. Better to just stay safe, my friends. What up, Faux Rising? Asked why I stopped playing on PokerStars. I never played on PokerStars a ton. Yeah, I found the games there were usually tougher, and I didn't love the software that much. So I have had some scores on PokerStars, it's true, but generally I found that I had more consistent results on other sites, other networks. And you know how it is. You find a site that you like, you find a site that you feel you run well on or whatever, and that's where you just focus your play. That's what it is. For me, the first site I ever played on was pokerroom.com, and I loved it. Everyone else was grinding party poker. I'm like, I like my pokerroom.com. I like to meet them and beat them. And so that's why I grinded there. Even though people said the party poker games were the best, I didn't like the software. So I played where I liked the software. What was all your first poker site, chat? I'm so curious what everyone's first site was and their favorite and why. Yes, Vora Shalova. I am in Canada, my friend. Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Welcome in, Mateus. Jim has so many chips, man. Jim has so many freaking chips. Andrea wanting to avoid the 3 bets from Jim is just limping in with King Jack. See if it works out for him. And he goes for the stab here. We used to call this play the cheap steal, where you limp in pre-flop and then you could just bet like one big blind on the flop. So instead of min raising, risking 2 big blinds, and then c-betting and risking another 1.5 or whatever, you could do the cheap steal, which was you limp in and you just bet the flop. And on a board like this, it's great to go for it. There's a good chance your opponents don't have an ace, and it's a minimum bet. Unfortunately for him, he ran into 2 pair, but fortunately, he's gone runner, trip jacks, and is going to be able to get some value on the river. I do hope he doesn't go for an all-in bet here. He needs to bet what he thinks a weak ace would call, which is probably about upwards of 800,000. And yeah, smart move not barreling the turn again. Jorge's unlikely to have called the flop with a 6 on this shallow of a stack, so he probably has an ace that's not planning on folding. He goes for all of it. Like I just think that that's just bad. I wanted to like put it in nicer words, but I honestly just feel like this play is bad, and it's not going to get called, and he's leaving money on the table and he's missing out. But hey, he'll win the pot. So they have some cake poker players, some full tilt. Bet online. Poker Planets. I don't even remember that one. Merge. I remember Merge. Yep. You got some ultimate bet players. Joker Stars. Yep. Paradise Poker. Yep. That was a good one. Yo, what up, So Gangsta? Viral Blood. Also got up here. Mike Honcho. Charan Duwai. I'm just not talking about the hand because the guy's clearly going to fold. I can't even look at this overbet, man. It's just, why did he do that? Sup, So Gangsta. Sup, Giovanni. Nice. PKR, that was like the 3D poker site, right? Where you have like a character and an avatar and you build them up. Oh man, yeah. Party Poker was great with the WPT. Mike Sexton, rest in peace. What a legend. I got to meet him when we did the book launch for Excelling in Older Homes. So I don't know if you guys who are watching know this, but in 2015, Jonathan Little reached out to me and invited me to work on a project. He said, hey, I'm doing a big collab book with names like Phil Hellmuth, Mike Sexton, myself, Liv Burry, Chris Moneymaker. Would you like to be involved? And I thought, wow, what an incredible career move. And what an incredible opportunity to get to have my face and name alongside those players. So I said, yes, let's do it. I will totally be in for this book project. And so I wrote the opening chapter. I think it was the 6 ingredients for a winning poker strategy, or 6 ingredients for a winning poker formula, something like that. And I wrote a chapter in the book, Excelling No Limit Hold'em. In the summer of 2015, when we launched the book, I had a booth in Vegas because I thought Grips was going to be this huge thing, and my ego was huge, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to get a booth and sell stuff. And anyway, I had a booth at the World Series of Poker, so when you're walking down the hallway to play, you'd see me selling books and selling t-shirts and stuff. And we did the book launch there. So Phil Hellmuth, Jonathan Little, Mike Sexton, Jared Tendler, Elliot Rowe, Trisha Cardner, Liv Burry, Chris Moneymaker, and more. They all came by the booth. We'll see Jim probably move all in here, and Jorge can't call, to do book signings and greet all the people who were buying the book because it was launching there for the first time. And I remember just watching Mike Sexton and actually being like, wow, this guy is so personable. He's so well-spoken. He's so excited to meet everybody, shake hands with everyone, so positive. I'm like, that's the way that I want to be. Mike Sexton is the people's people. He's a great man. And when I listened to his autobiography by DNB, highly recommend it, by the way. I just love the stories he shared, the truths he shared, man. Some really good life advice. Both things to do and things not to do, and a lot of behind the scenes stuff too, of some crazy gambling stories from Vegas. So rest in peace, man. Mike Sexton, incredible guy, best commentator for the World Poker Tour. He made me aspire to be a poker commentator, actually. He's one of the reasons I got involved in the game, and reading his book and just seeing him in action showed me how to carry myself as a personality within the poker space. So I just have great love and great thanks to him. And definitely going to dearly miss him. Just such a good guy for the game. Such a good guy. Anyway, we're going to see Jorge probably move all in here. And Andre, how many bigs is it? 8 bigs. He may make the call here. He may make the snap a lap with ace deuce suited. And he is, you know what they say, 30% of the time, it works every time. See if this is going to be one of those times. There's that 30%, man. Needs a tray or an ace to find the win. That could be, oh, a deuce. And our short stack, Jorge, has successfully continued to survive. Chip up, man. It's at 5 million. One thing I've really liked about watching Jorge's play is he's not afraid to raise fold when he thinks he has a strong enough hand to open with the blockers. And then when he is getting his chips in, he's generally getting his chips in really good. So nice job there. Now we see Ivan Luca making a great play with 6 deuce, taking it down. And we're going to see a big pot here. And Andret has 10s. Andre has king queen. It's a classic flip. Andre was doing so well, had all the chips for so long. Loses one all in, gets dented, loses another all in, and he is out the door. In 5th place, that's going to spell GG's for Andre Dershipilska. Taking home $83,254 for his 5th place finish. We are down to the final 4, man. What a performance from Jorge Abra and Ivan Luca. Coming in super short to this final table. They have quintupled, at minimum, quintupled their winnings on this final table. And just navigated so well, man. I'm probably going to watch this replay back and pay close attention to these 2 players because they've just done it all right. And Jim just putting on a clinic of a performance. We'll see if he continues to get those big steals going. This would be a good spot to go for a steal, but Ivan would have the shove. Frank, I'll probably raise and take this one down. Jaron asked if I'm playing the GG main or WSP main. I'm not going to play an online 10K. If they have a mini main event and they add like a bit more of a series to it, yes, I'll play like a 1K event for sure. But online 10K, as I was saying, I think the field's going to be a bit too stacked. I think the end game's going to be a bit too tough. I can't even fly to the States if that's where you have to play the final table. So I may just sit that one out. And I'll be all right with that. But yeah, if there's like a 1K mini main or some other events, yeah, for sure, man. I'd love to get in there. See Ivan Luca checking the turn, inducing bluffs from his opponent. No real reason for Endrit to bluff the river there. Gonna go check, check. Ivan taking this one down, man. Ivan Luca. And the blinds are going up. All right, so what does this mean? 200,000, 400,000 blinds. Jorge Abra, our short stack, back down to 10 bigs. Ivan Luca, our mid stack with 24 bigs, is now going to be mixing in the limping strategy for the same reason Endrit was doing it. Not wanting to get 3-bet by Jim when there was a shorter stack in play and wanting to be able to see flops, play pots in position. Second place stack, Endrit Getchy has 35 bigs, and our chip leader, Jim, left rook from Canada, is on 69 bigs. So the reason Ivan limped here is so that he could call a raise like this. If he raised and Jim 3-bet or 3-bet all in, Ivan doesn't get to see the flop with his beautiful ace-jack suited. But by limping in, he can then call a raise of a reasonable size and see the flop. That's what he's done. So he's playing this one in position. Three-way pot here. Jim, not going to take a stab at it. I'm interested to see if Ivan is going to mix this with a check. Oh my goodness. And Jim has caught lightning in a bottle, my friends. He's caught lightning in a bottle. Anyone who remembers whose line that was, throw it in the chat. You know. And there, bottom boat. Jim probably going to go for a little value now. Can get 2 streets from a queen. 1 street from an ace, maybe 2. If he goes with the small size, maybe 2. And now Quadzilla, man. What a dream spot for Jim. So he could just go for all of it, right? Because if his opponent, if Ivan has a queen, it's going to be pretty hard to fold. So Jim could just pile all of it. And if he wants to get value from an ace, he'd have to go for a smaller size here, probably about 2.4 mil. So we'll either see the small size to target an ace, or we'll see the full size to go for a queen. He's going to go for the full size. Because, as we know, if Ivan Luca has a queen here, he's probably not folding it. Ivan thinking it through. What bluffs would Jim raise pre-flop, check the flop, and then bet turn and river with? Probably not a whole lot. Most of the bluffs would probably just bet the flop themselves. Taking his time. It's a big pot here. 2-1 on a call. If he called and was correct, pretty much be tied for the chip lead. Actually, no, he would take the chip lead. That's a great point, MGM. A small size gets the queen as well, but it doesn't get full value from a queen. Because a queen is probably just going to call. It's not going to raise unless it's ace queen. And so if you bet the smaller amount, you're leaving some money on the table versus a queen. But you are getting more money from an ace. Looks like chat thinks it's going to be a fold. Wow, chat was wrong. Ivan Luca makes the call with ace jack. It is no good. And he is going to be busting. If you call it going to be all over, baby. You call it going to be all over, baby. And Franco Ivan Luca makes a failed hero call. He's going to be going on 4th place for $115,790. Played quite well, man, to get very deep. Came in as one of the shortest stacks at the start of the final table. Laddered his way up to a 6-figure payday. And how about Jorge? I'm pretty sure he came in as the shortest stack. And he's now guaranteed $161,042. What exactly? Aaron's saying it too, man. What an effing run for Jorge. That is epic. And now Jim just has all the chips, man. He's got 97 bigs, 39 million. Endrit's in second with a third of his stack. Jorge's got a tenth of his stack. Jim has 2/3 of all the chips in play. And wow, just an incredible job by Jorge laddering up on this final table. He was a bit of a wild card coming in, but he played very, very well and was rewarded nicely for it. Bada Bing thinks it was the right call in the long run. Always tough to know in those spots. Yeah, you know, I think the big stack's pushing you around, trying to use ICM. It's hard in those moments when you can't see the cards. Definitely hard when you can't see the cards. Jason says that's gonna haunt him forever. Maybe. I mean, Ivan Luca he's pretty paid. He's pretty good at tourneys. He's probably on to the next one. Probably had another table running at the same time. Speaking of that, Jim Lefterook induces a bluff from Endrit there and extends his chip lead even more. 41 million for Jim. Second place is Endrit Getchy on 11. Things really, really turned around when Jim checked back the trip jacks, ace jack of hearts against Anant Purohit, and then Anant just punted it all off, that 10-6 of diamonds. That's really the game-changing hand. I mean, after that, Jim never really looked back. He just played well, put his chips to good use, picked his spots well, and he's looking poised to win $300,000 today in a World Series of Poker gold bracelet. Incredible stuff. Easy shove there, putting the pressure on Jorge. Obviously, Jorge's hoping to outlast Endrit and get one more pay jump, but he is going to have to pick a spot to put his chips in the middle pretty soon. And Endrit also, you know, he's wanting to outlast Jorge here, so he needs to play a little bit cautiously. It's $62,000 pay jump for outlasting one more player. So that's why he's limping here instead of raising. He may even just limp folds. Like, yes, it's a playable hand. Flops well. But at the same time, when there's a player this short, do you even want to take a flop to try to flop something that you can maybe continue with? Because he's opening himself up to potentially coolering himself, to potentially taking himself out of the tournament when he takes a flop there. So instead of doing that, he just says, no, I'll just pass. Jim could shove here, put the pressure on Jorge. The other option is he could fold to keep Jorge on the short stack, because then he can take more chips from Endrit while Endrit tries to outlast Jorge. But he just takes it down. This will probably be a big raise, if not a shove. And Jorge's going to go with ace-10 here. That's too strong. So will Jim get it done again with the deuces? Deuces never loses. Jose says Jorge is his idol. Well, with the 10 on the flop, even more so. Down to a 1-outer for Jim. And Jorge with a spade flush is going to find the double up there. He's up to 5 million, back up to 12 bigs. Endrit not liking it so much. And we have a quick break here. We're going to skip most of this break. Just a quick word from our sponsor, Grips Poker Training. If you guys want to learn how to win tournaments, you can get a free training package from Grips Poker Training with my 4-hour MTT guide teaching you early, mid, late stage, final table play, short stack, big stack play. My ebook on MTTs, the beginner's guide to tournament selection, which will help you select the right tournament based on the type of variance, type of bankroll, and type of time you have available to play, and Tournament Poker Fundamentals, which teaches you how to adjust to your table, adjust to stack size to open the right ranges. It also comes with a 30-day custom training program with videos on all kinds of topics. And Black Friday special, Thanksgiving special, when you sign up and create a new account at America's Card Room today, with the sign-up code GRIPST, and let me know your username in chat. I will get you a free $10 bankroll plus all this free training material. Currently, we have 5 people signed up for that offer. 5 more people can get it. So if you want to pick it up, check out gripst.com/free. Click the link on MTT. Anyway, let's continue ahead. We will be sending out all the money at the end of the stream. So about 20 minutes away to get that free money if you're looking for it. Also, for the next 4 days, we're giving out free pro memberships for grips.com. So if you want a free month to try the site out, absolutely risk-free, get access to hundreds of hours of videos. Check out gripsed.com, gripsed.com today. Get your free pro membership. All right, we're back into the action. 3-handed in this 1K 6 max WSOP 2020 final table. Brought to you by GG and Evan. Oh, wow. Congratulations on 101 thumbs up. I didn't even see that. Mine was paused. I thought we were at 60. Wow. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. I appreciate everybody on YouTube. You guys will be notified when I do the next one of these, which may be today. Got 4 more planned for the rest of the month. We be going ham. Speaking of going ham, Jim Lefterock turns 2 pair with 10-4. Endrit has no idea he's behind now. Why didn't Endrit just shove pre-flop? Why didn't he just shove pre-flop? Jim Lefterock going for value. Endrit having no clue what to do. There's 2 overcards to his 9, but he feels like he's got a call in. Wow, what a spot for Jorge, man. Jim gets it through on the river. Sean with the solver analysis. Think solver approves folding pair of kings on that flop. UTG range is so far ahead that he can bluff you off times you're ahead. I think folding top pair too. Why did you take it away, man? I thought that was a cool message. Oh well. He didn't want people to know. Secrets are back in the box. Jorge reshoving ace king suited here. Probably going to get it through. What up, Abhishek Sonu? This is Addy from India. I play on Poker Stars. I've learned a lot from your video. Thanks a lot. You're welcome, brother. Thank you for the support. Ricardo, for the free money on ACR, you just have to create a new account with the sign-up code GRIPST and then share your username with me in chat on Twitch or YouTube. And the first 10 people get it. It has to be a new account and you have to use the sign-up code GRIPST. Those are the only conditions. All right, Jorge shoving for 15 blinds, and Jim gonna make the call here with ace 4 suited. He can easily afford it. He's got all the chips. He's looking to get that ladder right here. Doesn't need to call for that many bigs. I mean, 14 bigs is 16 bigs is a lot, but he is gonna make it and hope to fade. He needs to fade a 10, a king, or a heart. Now just a heart. Suit. Looks like a deuce. Man, I want to give a massive round of applause to Jorge Abra, who played incredibly from Brazil, man. Could have easily got up to second place in this thing. Little unlucky there on that last hand, but always got it in good. Went for all the steal spots, was willing to raise fold, willing to put in chips, and then like let go of the hand. I just really thought the play was solid. The reason he just shoved was because he's one of the short stacks, three-handed. He just wants to have the best chance of taking down the blinds rather than getting moved off his hand post flop. So he's going to be taking third place money for $161,000. And Don Burt is going in for the Free Money Friday giveaway. We still have 3 more bankrolls to give away. 6 are claimed, and we're doing 1 on Twitter. And congratulations, Endrit Getchy, who has made it to heads up, albeit at a 10-1 chip deficit, but he is guaranteed $223,978. Once again, big thank you to everyone on YouTube for smashing the like button. I really appreciate you guys. It helps out the channel a lot, and it lets YouTube know that you want to know when the next final table review is coming out, and it's coming out sooner than you think. All right, this one's tough for Endrit, man. He's got second pair on the flop and must just feel like Jim's running him over. There's also that moment sometimes you get heads up, suddenly all the pressure's off. There's no worrying about laddering anymore. You know your worst case is a very good case, and sometimes you get a little bit more gambling, a little bit more confident at that point. I know I've made some pretty punty plays heads up because it's like, oh, all the pressure's off. But props to him for not getting carried away there. And we're heads up here for $300,000. These players are playing for about a $75,000 pay jump plus that World Series of Poker Gold bracelet. I've had my money on Jim. I had my eye on Ivan Luca for most of this final table, but I've had my money on Jim since he won that big pot from Anant. And I'm hoping that he's going to take this one down for Canada. He's got the cards. He's keeping the pressure on. Got a massive chip lead, $51.5 million to $3.2 million. You feels for Endrit, but you also feels good for him, man. He's got 223,000 locked up. Yeah, pretty hard to lose. So what are the votes, chat? Did we want to get one more final table review in today? Maybe a little turbo? All right, it's 9-4 suited versus King Jack of Diamonds. Or should we save the double header for maybe Monday? All right, pair on the flop and a hard draw. But a 10 King or Jack, a little bit of monkey action would give Jim the win. Nope, it's going to be a flush, and Endrit is going to double up. Back to 6 million. He finally caught himself a break. He's got 15 bigs. A little bit of hope. How much did Jorge win? Jorge won $161,042, Jose. He played great. Picked his spots well. A little bit of bad luck on the last hand to get both called by ace-4 and to not get there with king-10, but he gave himself a great opportunity, man. Really good short stack play. Really good short stack play. All right, Jim picks up another one, back up to his comfortable 10-1 chip leader. And this one could mean action. We have bottom pair versus a flush draw. Now trips for Endrit. He could raise to protect against a flush draw, but he may also just want to call to keep the bluffs in there. And bricks out on the river. Doesn't fire another bluff. Good discipline by Jim here. And Endrit gonna win the minimum. Once again, checks it down and then goes for the overbet on the river. Interesting, interesting, interesting. Jim looking to get a cheap flop here with 10-7. I'm going to take that down. So this final table will be finishing soon, and I just wanted to give a reminder, guys, that we're going to play a home game after this on Twitch. Everyone who wants to play is welcome to join. Just come to twitch.tv/grips for the password, info, all that stuff. And then, time permitting, we may do a second final table review today. But if not, we will be back tomorrow at noon for some high stakes tournaments. We're going to play a $200 bounty, beat the pros. And after that, or maybe before that, we'll do another final table review, depending on what time I wake up. Sunday, we have tournaments all day. Same thing. Maybe we'll get a review and some high stakes and a home game. And then Monday, we're going to do whatever reviews are left. So whichever ones we don't do tonight or tomorrow or Sunday, we'll do on Monday. Maybe a little marathon. And this could be it. Jim limps in. And Endrit probably going to run it here for 15 bigs. And Jim going to snap call. The trap is set. All he needs to do is fade a king. Or a jack. More outs there. And he could be our winner. King, no problem now. King will actually give him a straight. And that queen on the river is going to spell congratulations to Jim Lefteruk from Canada. Takes down the 1K No Limit Hold'em 6 Max event for $311,510.85. The guy played absolutely boss. Very impressive stuff. That was really fun to watch. Really cool to see. So congratulations to our second place winner, Endrit Getchy. Come in second place for $223,977.85. And congratulations to our champion, Jim Lefteruk, winning $311,510.85. Okay, guys, if you want to continue hanging, the stream is at twitch.tv/grips. I put a link in chat. And if you want to watch more of these final table replays, they are all available on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/grips. This is the playlist here, WSOP 2020, all hole cards revealed. You can see there are a bunch there and more being added every day. So thank you for watching this final table. I hope you enjoyed watching it as much as I did commentating it. And if you did, hit that like button. If it's your first time here, feel free to hit that subscribe button and join Team Gripst. We do many final table reviews like this, and just love to share the knowledge with fellow poker fans, poker players, poker dreamers, poker lovers, you know, all the good things poker. So with that, I'm going to head on over to twitch.tv/grips, where we're going to play a home game. If your name is on this list, I'm going to send you a free $10 for the home game. And if it's not, come on over to Twitch. There's still 3 more free bankrolls available. And until next time, you guys know what to do. Take what you learned. Go out there. Get stacking. Peace, y'all. Thanks for watching. Thanks for the likes. Thanks for the comments. Y'all are the best.